We're live.
By the
click, yeah, by the click of a button. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you would have got a little bell notification. Yeah. Cool.
I think I have to go. I need to see this live stream.
Need to what? Sorry? need to see the live stream. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, thanks for joining in, guys. That's cool. Oh, let me pause the stream over here. I broke my rule. There we go. So we don't get the feedback loop. So we've got some folks watching already. We've got John. How are you, man? We've got Dallas Cowboys 107. Jaden James. And where's Steve? Seems to have maybe let us down on the being the first one to the live stream. He lost his title.
What's up?
Yeah, we've got Guitar Gods and Guns. Interesting. I need to check that YouTube channel out just to see what that is actually all about. That's kind of...
We have an ague fish sighting.
We do. What does that actually mean? You got to type in the chat there, Hunter. Let me know what ague fish actually stands for, or what the term is. I never quite... Maybe it's just a name that has no meaning.
Is that some Canadian thing, Terry?
No.
No. He's from Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it's a southern thing. I'm not too sure. All right, we got Leland. Is that how you pronounce that? From LA. Man, this is always good trying to pronounce some names. I'm just terrible. I know I butcher them, so I'm just like, hey, we have someone with that name's here. So, all right, we've got 45 people watching already. So yeah, it's a bit of a community hangout. It'll get going as the day goes on, or whatever time it is, wherever people are, hopefully. And yeah, there was no particular topic in mind. We usually just do these live streams on a whim and see what sort of happens. So
oh my God, it's a Nick in the States.
He's still alive. What's happening, guys?
Yeah, what's going on, man? Where you been?
Oh God, I haven't seen anything posted by you in ages.
It's been like two solid months. Life has been busy.
Don't tell me you've got a life, man. What's happening?
No, I know, right? Summer. I did this last summer too. I went into the summer with every intention of having a full slate of stuff, and then like the kids are out of school, and it's really nice outside. It's a lot easier to do this when it's crap outside.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and then by the time I get my kids to bed, it's 9:30, and I'm usually asleep within about 30 minutes after that, if not 7 minutes before the kids go to sleep.
Yeah, no doubt.
So yeah, I wondered what was happening with you, man. I hadn't seen you post a video for ages. So I know we've been communicating via email a bit, but yeah, I haven't. I was starting to wonder maybe you were all gassed out for a little while there.
And some of it was that, right? Like I don't need any. I didn't need anything probably 20 guitars ago, 30 guitars ago, but I don't need anything right now. But I also, some of it is you go and like I was getting back towards more the music side and not the gear side. So, trying to write a little, play a little, get a little creative, that kind of stuff, just to scratch that itch in different ways. But
that's a really good place to be, man. That's where I am. There's a lot of guys on YouTube that'll just store their stuff in their room. I'm not one of those guys. I like to move things out so I don't get as distracted and just focus more on the playing. So it's good stuff. Someone just asked me if I ever sleep, and yeah, occasionally. All right, so here we go. This is just, hey, Lando's here too. How are you, man?
I'm here for literally like 2 minutes. I'm just like, I'm in the middle of a house party, and I'm gonna hang out for a couple seconds.
That's awesome. That's dedication.
Long weekend here in Canada, so I'm here for like a couple minutes. That's it.
Yeah, awesome. So anyone who's watching, check out Lando27 Music on YouTube, as well as Nick in the States as well. Terry Bear's also got a YouTube channel, and I don't know if Isaac has one. I'm not too sure.
Not yet.
Okay, cool. It's all right.
Not yet. I have a few videos, but I don't think I can say I have a YouTube channel at this point.
Yeah, no, that's all right. It's just a smart move, man. You'll have more time.
This is the truth.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
definitely. I'm definitely not to the level of like Lando and Nick, even though I got a bunch of videos. But it's just me doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It becomes kind of like an addiction thing where you gotta get one out a week at least, or else it doesn't. I don't know.
Man, I wish.
Or
it
you
was
take a
one
break
week.
for a while and don't do any. So
Yeah, it tends to
I'm
be
actually-
my summer vacation gig.
I'm going to pull back my video releases coming up pretty much as soon as I go away. Like I've got a couple of videos queued every week, but I'm literally just going to do one at the start and end of the week or something like that, and pull it back because I'm on my own. I'm trying to break out 5 videos a week almost. It's still 4. It's just I don't have time for it. I don't have the. It just you get burnt out. I don't think a lot of people realize how much work goes into it, especially if you're really putting a lot of time into editing and visuals. And it's just I don't know how I did it when I worked full time. I have no idea. I mean, the videos weren't as good then as they are now, but they were still essentially the same format.
I do mine at night. Literally, I put the kids to bed, and it's like 10 p.m. and I do mine at night. So sometimes I'm just a zombie, and it comes across because I'm not energetic or anything, and it's just like playing guitar. Here's a pedal or an amp or something, and then I look at it after. I'm like, I could have done better on that, but it wasn't during the day, right? When you have your energy, so
Well, and
it kind of suffers that way.
My first time of the day ones are way better, to the point that the kids go back to school in 3 weeks, and I've actually shifted my Tuesday work schedule. I've got a thing Tuesday nights later, so I'm going to work at 10. That gives me a 2-hour block every Tuesday from getting the kids out to going to work where I can actually do something fun and inspiring.
And not be exhausted. Yeah.
Well, true. And then also, then I have the rest of the day to obsess about how I want to cut it up and get excited about it.
That's For me, it's like I can do a video in 30 minutes, but then I want to just get it edited as quick as I can. And I probably don't spend as much time as I could cutting out the right parts or whatever. And then you get what you get. So
people don't realize that if a little 10 or 15-minute video at a minimum is 2 hours of cutting. And if you do it to Shane or Landon's, it can be 3-4 hours of going back over. It's just release another one. Oh yeah, dude, I've recorded the video for now 2 months ago and still haven't got the 2 or 3 hours to cut it apart. Or you go in and you're like, oh no. And then you got to set it all back up again and record because something went wrong. Which is
I edited a Guitar Search Saturday video yesterday. I put together this mega episode. I spent 8 hours almost straight editing one episode. I still haven't finished it, so I'll try and finish it. I'll try and finish it today. I actually had a comment on an amp video I did. They go, man, someone wrote something like, Shane, you look exhausted, man. You either need more help, more drugs, or something else. I was like, man, I'm the only one who does everything on the channel. So, I mean, I have other guys on there occasionally, but I'm, the guy behind all of it. So
the production is the hardest part.
Yeah, it is. And I want to maintain my standard as well. I feel like that's something that I've just I've set my own personal expectation pretty high with it. But anyway,
I got to run. I said I was here for a couple of minutes, so I literally got to go. So
all right, cool, man. Take it easy.
That's it. Cameo appearance. Here we go. Okay, take care, guys.
See you, man. So, Nick, I'll be up actually in Boston on the 20th.
On the 20th. Do you know what time? The 20th, I can probably meet later. We've got my daughter's 7th birthday combined with my wife's 35th birthday.
Wow, okay.
Wow. Hosted here with 50 or 60 people coming by. Cool. But which you're more than welcome to come to. and pop on in, man. It's always a good time. Just cook out in the backyard. Cool. Beers and food and stuff. But do you know what time you get in on Saturday?
Not yet. That's the only flight I haven't booked yet that I need to. So, well, actually, I haven't booked 2 yet, but that's one that I need to sort out. So, I'm going to meet up with Steve. I'm staying not far from where Steve lives, as in Pixie Steve. Hey, well, here we go. I just hit the magic word. I said Steve, and he appeared.
There's another Steve.
Everyone knows Jamal as Ahmad. I realized that was his middle name. So I apologize for calling you that for about 3 years.
No, that was actually my first name, but I go by my middle name. I just switched it up when I tied everything on Facebook.
Okay, all right, cool.
All right, hey everybody.
How are you, man?
Good,
Steve,
good,
welcome
good.
back, mate.
Here we go.
Hey.
Got the usual, the group of usual suspects lined up, I see.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's new in the world of guitars and gas and whatever else has been going on for you guys? Who wants to go first?
I want that
man.
Monterey Pop Strat.
Yeah.
I saw that thing. I was like, I don't want to buy any more new guitars, but I saw that and I was like, damn you, Fender.
Which guitar was it, sorry?
It's a Mexican-made Strat, but it's painted like the one that Jimmy burned in Monterey back in '67. Yeah, it's like $900.
It's another Hendrix tribute.
Yeah.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. Yeah. I didn't know they had that out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they just launched it.
Yeah, instead
I had,
of
somebody
rosewood,
in.
they made it with that Paul Farrell neck, whatever.
Yeah, Paul Farrell fretboard.
Yeah.
I've owned two times cheap-ish representations of those, and like I really want to get a good one because I love that look. It's just a great guitar. It's iconic.
We got a chance to check out the new Brent Paisley Telecaster the other day. That sort of sparkly grey one. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not. It's literally like, I'll see if I can bring up a picture here. It's a made in Mexico one, and it's
road worn.
Yeah, it's road worn, and it's also sparkly. It's got sparkles all over it. Where's it? Okay, here we go. I'll bring it up. How do I do this again? It's been a while. There we go. All right. So it's this one. Oh, hang on. Sorry. There we go. Yeah. So
cool.
it looks pretty cool. I don't know if I gave away the price, but guess how much they sell for in Australia?
A lot.
$1 million.
Yeah, exactly. No, only 2,500. So you know.
Jeez.
Only 2,500.
We'll buy two of them.
Yeah, we were a little shocked. I didn't think they'd be $2,000. Or I thought they'd be somewhere around there. But for a Mexican-made guitar, it's a lot of money. But I guess the finish is the reason. Maybe, I don't know. But they sound good. They look good.
Does the road board mean that they were pulled out from underneath the bus again, or?
Yeah, pretty much. There was a couple of original 50s Strats and Tellys at the guitar show, like from, not reissues or anything that I went to, and none of them were as road worn as any of the new ones. And they've been around for like 100 years. Well, not that long, but quite a while.
70 years or so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the guitar show here was not bad. It wasn't bad. Sorry, go ahead, Terry. I think that was
I was just going to say, Aguefish Hunter did actually post a response. He said his girlfriend made him a sunfish doll thing, and she named it Agu. So that's where the name came from.
Awesome. Wow. Oh, well, I always wondered that. I kept meaning to ask him, and I didn't. So
I guess that means she gets the intellectual rights with it too, right?
Yeah,
how much does she get from the Google AdSense revenue then?
0.001 cent.
Well, the funny thing is Hunter's got his channel. Aguefish is very memorable, but Hunter's name is one of the coolest names between Hunter and then his last name. For those of you who know it, I think it might have been his thing, but like, it's a pretty cool. It's one of those like, oh, that's a good name, man. That works, Yeah,
it's a very strong sounding name.
Yeah.
I like when Homer Simpson changed his name, and he was like, "What should I change it to?" And he had a hair dryer in his hand, and it said Max Power at the top for how high you want to run it. He's like, "What an awesome name!" It was cool. Hey Nick, thanks so much for shooting that Guitar Search Saturday video too, man. That came up great. What a shot, man. What a shot.
That I can literally hit with a wrist rocket from my house. There's like a school in between us, and that's it. And they're wicked cool now. So it's a good little spot, and it turns over pretty quick. So it's good for every couple of weeks pop in there. Happy to do it. That was fun. And I just walk in, I'm like, hey, you mind if I shoot this? Like, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I think most shops don't care. That's I'm going to try that approach with more of them. Just literally say, hey, this is what I'm doing, and is this cool? Because then I can actually take my good video camera in and kind of, you know, have it look a little nicer when I, you know, at least when I'm in control of the camera. So I thought, yeah, why not? And Ahmad, thanks for shooting the one that you shot as well. We won't give that one away just yet, but yeah. Like I said, I'm on the fence whether or not I can use it, only because of it's hard to tell what things are, because a lot of it was, you know, without giving it away too much, struts and tallies, and I had a lot of trouble telling what was what. That was the problem. So I know as soon as I post a video, and I'm not sure, everyone will go, "Oh, you got the guitar wrong, dickhead." You know, like.
I think you'll find.
It's a lefty.
I think you'll find it's a Nashville, stupid.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll cop it. So,
or that was a Sweetwater limited run. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife did the better filming of the stuff that I did. I was trying to be kind of coy. My wife's like, "Sprint, hey, you know." The guy was cool. Then they started talking about antiques, and then I knew my wife was in heaven, and she loves antiques and stuff like that.
I'm going to fly over there for a day after I go to Boston, so I'm sort of doing a U-turn back. So I'll shoot you a message if it works.
All right.
If it works out.
All right, just let me know.
Yeah, cool.
When you leaving again?
I'm leaving on. I leave Thursday morning here, but I'm out in the house Wednesday. I'm staying near the airport. I live quite a ways drive from the airport here, so I'm staying out at a hotel there. But,
I'm just laughing. I'm just thinking, yeah, Jamal's probably like, yeah, let me know when you're coming so I can check your baggage for left-handed guitars.
I missed that. I'm definitely going to be on the prowl for just looking around. I want to see if I can find a good used guitar or something that's not, you know, going to break the bank.
Yeah. Nice stuff there.
The thing is, I'm kind of happy with the collection I've already got. Like, I don't really feel like I need to add to it. Every time I double up on an instrument, I end up only playing one of them as opposed to using both.
Right now, I only have one guitar.
Good for you.
I don't need to be the one.
Yeah, you'll be a wealthy man. Just don't start shooting videos. That's where it all falls apart.
Avoid videos and avoid certain forums like AGF, A Guitar Forum, or My Les Paul or whatever, because you go in there with the best of intentions trying to figure out how to wire something, and then 20 guitars later, your wife's yelling at you. Just imaginary story. Not any true anybody I know.
I hate when that happens.
Hey guys, I got to run.
Speaking of gas,
right back.
Oh,
okay, no worries, man. Cool.
I'll be right back.
Later, man.
All right. So, Steve, you're sitting there quietly, mate. What's new in your world? You sort of sneak new things in every now and then, and it's been a while. So,
I missed the last one. I didn't quite see it coming, but I saw your post. This one's coming. If you recall, a while back, I had that Strat with the SSH. It had a tobacco burst on it. I never managed to bond with a guitar, so I traded it back in for.
Dun, 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 dun.
We're going to the dark side on this one, boys. Quick, give me your left-hander thing, your left-hander siren there, Oscar.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, bass. Nice.
Very nice one, too.
Cool.
Yeah,
nice.
Love the basses with the block inlay.
Mm-hmm. They're the only Fenders that look right with a block inlay, too. I'm sorry. I tried to do it on a Jazzmaster, and I like the basses.
It looks fugly.
It's a Fender. It's a Fender PJ.
Nice. Little 50-50.
You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, it's actually, you know, I basically, when I did play when I was younger, I was the bass player in the band. So I'm sort of just going back to my roots a little bit with that one. But what was nice about it is that as a PJ, It's got both precision bass and jazz bass pickups in it. It's got a precision bass body and a jazz bass neck. So the neck is sort of slim. Wow. So, you know, if you're used to playing, you know, like 6-string and you switch over to your bass, it doesn't feel like you're going from, you know, such a dramatic change in neck feel when you slide back and forth between the two of them. And it's pretty cool because you can mix in the precision bass or the jazz bass pickups, and you can blend them in a little bit. You know, you can give it a little more snap like the jazz basses have. You can give it some more thump like the P basses are known for, or just blend them. And actually, it's sort of cool.
Cool. Did you end up getting like a quad box and a 500-watt amp head as well, or what?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think I was responsible for some seismic recording on a Richter scale somewhere out in probably Toledo or something.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, they're great basses, man.
I picked up a small Fender Rumble, 40 watts. You know, it's just, you know, me and my my downstairs room there. So, you know, I just need a little sound and tone and a little rumble. You know, I don't need to shake the rafters or, you know, break windows.
Oh, come on, man. What type of attitude is that?
Well, especially the bass, I think now, like the little Galleon Krugers or even some of the Mark bass ones are like this little tiny thing that's this big, and it's like, you know, 10,000 watts. I have no idea.
1,000 watts.
Yeah.
And you talk to the players. My neighbor's in a really good bass player in a reggae band, and he's like, no, those things are great. He's like, I love my little. He's still an Ampeg SVT guy, but he's like, those little stupid thing. I was like, it's a joke. And then he played it. It's like, what the hell am I doing, killing my back? Yeah.
Yeah. Mate of mine's got a couple of those amps, and they're all extremely light and very, very loud for what you get. They've got super efficient speakers in them as well. So even a 12-inch speaker in a Mark bass or 10 will sound massive compared to what you'd expect it to sound from a conventional bass amp. So yeah, they're really quite good.
In the old days, I used to drag around with an Ampeg B15 XT, which had two 15-inch cabinets in it. And every now and then, I'd also borrow a friend's Fender Bassman at the same time, you know, and just try and, you know, shake the rafters with it. And it was pretty cool. I was basically the only person in the band where people would come in from outside and say, I could hear the band, but I could feel you playing because it's just, you know, rumbling everything. That's the cool thing about playing bass. And also, there's usually not a lot of bass players, so there was times when I had absolutely no trouble finding a band to play in.
Oh, that's. Yeah. I think 1 in 10 bass players are bass players. The rest of them are guitarists looking for the next in between gigs.
Yeah, you could be right about that, actually.
Most of them that I know are that. I know one bass player to the heart, and most of the rest of them are like, yeah.
We just got a question or a comment. Are we taking questions? Yeah, these live streams are just whatever comes up in conversation. If anyone has a specific question for anyone, I'll tell you a little trick. What you can do in the chat is use the @ symbol like in an email and start typing whoever's name you want to direct a question to. And it should pop up automatically, and they'll see that in a highlighted red color. You won't, but anyone who you direct the message to will, and then we can take some questions like that. It's also a little bit hard sometimes for me to keep an eye on all the comments because I'm sort of help controlling the camera if it moves around funny. So feel free to ask any questions, and we can take that. Otherwise, we'll just ramble on for a while. So yeah. Or if anyone wants to direct the conversation anywhere, or if anyone on the actual stream here has any suggestions, we can do that.
We have a Pixie sighting.
Hey, there he is.
Hey, here he is. Let's make him a moderator just to scare him.
The more moderators, the better, I say.
I'll give him the power. Just if you can do me a favor, Pixie, just kick Nick out for me, mate. No.
Nick, you don't have to take this abuse, man.
Hey, man, I live close enough to Pixie that I could somehow track him down.
Yeah, I might have to do it on where he roughly is pretty soon too, mate. So
yeah.
Don't worry, mate. With great power comes no responsibility when it's on my channel, so you'll be all good.
Hey, Shane, when you fly,
sorry,
Shane, when you fly into the States, what airport are you flying into?
I'm going to Orlando first. So from LA, unfortunately, to not that there's anything wrong with LA itself. I just don't like that airport. It's crazy busy. It's like the the first destination for all overseas airlines, pretty much. So on that side, so it's crazy busy. But we're going from there to Orlando. So from Melbourne, I think I go to Sydney to LA to Orlando all in one big trip. So it's like 27 hours of.
You're right.
It's a 27-hour long journey from start to end, something like that. From like actually getting to the airport and landing at the airport. So it's brutal, but I'm really looking forward to it, man. I still got my heater on back here. My hands are kind of purple still. I want to get out of here.
I spent 4 hours on a lake with a kayak today, so you're coming to the right place.
Yeah, you look tanned, man.
Yeah, I got some color today. Snuck up on it.
You fried
Candy
himself.
looks slightly blushish.
Yes, it's pink.
Yeah, slightly pinkish.
It's a combination of well-salted steak, and blood pressure, and melanoma. It's all good.
Yeah. I usually recover pretty quick getting there. It's coming home where my body clock dies. Like you get there, I'll get there in the evening, have that night to sleep and wake up. But when I get back in the morning, and staying up that a full whole day is like crazy hard. But
you power through it.
Yeah, that's it. You just got to.
I can't go to bed at 6. I'll never fix it.
Yeah. It's hard to stay awake coming back. But anyway, I just had a quick question from Winston. He said, is the Fender Mustang going to come back after the last junk? Meaning like after the most recent amp. Look, they have potential to fix that amp because it is software based, but I have a feeling there's some other issue with it, whether it be the speaker itself or something else within that actual amp that, look, I would like to hope they fix a lot of that lack of 3D sound that they have. I don't know if they can fix that or not, but I'd like to hope they can. But, I just can't believe that sound went backwards from the previous version. No, don't get that at all. I don't know if you guys have heard
exactly by will. Well, what do they mean by will the Mustang come back? Because Fender can make anything and people will buy it. So so they're always going to be making new Mustangs because people are going to buy them. So. Yeah,
I think the question might have been just like, I interpreted that as, can they sort of fix it, or will they be able to fix it? But who knows? Maybe the next version will be better. They need to sort of give a few out to people before they release the next one to make sure that it's good. Because the thing is, with what people don't realize about Fender or anybody that shoots videos for Fender gear and they sell Fender gear, they sign a contract that says can't say anything negative about our products, right? And a lot of YouTubers don't know that, so they go, "Oh, I'll trust the reviews of these guys," and they have a legal binding agreement that they're not allowed to say anything bad about their products while they stock or sell them, right? I don't have that agreement, and I don't ever want to have that agreement. So when you hear me whinge about big companies, when you hear me whinging about big companies, I never want to be in a position where I sign something that's just to say, here's positive reviews on everything. That's not what I want to do. And that's where YouTube's going right now. And it's a real shame because people aren't aware of that. There's very few people that are huge on YouTube. Now, I'm not saying I'm big either. Like compared to other channels, I'm not that large, but that aren't under some sort of agreement with companies. It's just a real shame. I think it's, anyway.
Maybe they mean it's the Mustang come back to the store in the original box.
Yeah, the reboxing video.
Yeah,
that is the best.
I just seen another channel actually put out like a 5-minute YouTube video with a review on it, and I was just shaking my head like, oh my god.
Hey, we should give a shout out to Brazil. Poor Mario's getting hurt that we haven't given a shout out to Brazil yet. There you go, Mario.
Hey, Mario.
Shout out to Mario. Shout out to Flipside Music as well.
Yeah.
Michael Cross says, speaker choice for a teal stripe PV Bandit. Well, the stock one in those are usually pretty good. If you want to change it, it just depends on what sort of sound you're looking for. I always think the Texas Heat's a really good choice, only because it fattens out the mids a bit, but everyone likes different stuff. I always say to people with choosing a speaker, find out what sound you like the best and listen to No, and listen to as much stuff as you can in terms of videos and audio, because some have more tops than others. Some are too bright. And if you can find someone who plays the similar style to you, that helps you choose one as well. But any of those Eminence speakers, I really like them because they're really, really loud. They make your amp louder. They really do. So and that's always good.
Must
I'm
be high
just laughing
efficiency.
at Flip's comment.
Sorry?
Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry. What?
Flip side just said that he's a dealer and the Mustang the new one sucked. The GT sucked.
Yeah, he said he's a dealer, and I'm not afraid to say that it sucks.
Yeah, you'll see. I see a lot of like newer shops that just popped up when that came out, doing really favorable reviews. I have a feeling a lot of stores may have. I'm only making an assumption. They may have felt pressured to put out good publicity about it after some of us said the exact opposite. Or not the exact opposite, but we were critical of it as opposed to just saying like, oh, everything's wonderful. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And weren't they sort of poaching on your Mustang Monday kind of thing you were doing there?
That was interesting. Yeah. So on Instagram, I check that like once, twice a day, maybe in the morning. And usually before I go to bed, I have a look at it as well. And I saw them post up a thing about there's a left-handed Telecaster player, a 52 reissue Tele, like my yellow one that I guess that's the guitar I'm known for. I've used it on videos for years. And there was no head, so it was just like the bottom half. It had a Fender Mustang GT on the floor, and it said "Happy Mustang Monday." So I thought that's interesting. Uh-oh, we got trouble in the house.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
How are y'all?
Oh Lord.
Hey. How are you, man?
Telly 52.
The original thing. You mentioned a Telly 52, and Ryan shows up with his classic 52 custom shop reissue. Only the best.
That's a nice
The no-caster.
single cut PRS.
With the Kung Fu grip.
Y'all, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got no feedback for a change, mate. What's happening?
I do have feedback.
No, you don't.
No,
This is
no
awesome.
feedback.
Headphones.
And I have to ask you to remove those. No. No, all good. How's things, Ryan? What's happening?
Oh, they're good, man. I think the last time we spoke, I was enjoying my Katana amplifier that I know you got an opportunity to review.
Yep. Did you you didn't get a Mustang, did you?
No, not hardly.
Okay.
Man, they really botched that whole series, didn't they?
Yeah, we were just talking about that. But I thought you were leading into something when you said you were enjoying your Katana. So
Here, let me lean a little farther.
Yeah, I seen what he had behind him.
Man,
I was waiting. I was like,
I've gone to the dark side.
it's a lunchbox.
It's a lunchbox. It's a Kemper.
Cool.
it's a camper.
Camper. Yeah, it's a camper. It's an Airstream.
So a while back, this is you want to take this go left on this thing. A while back, I think it was Henny was the first one, but how do I put this? I'm on one of the many forums I'm on, that way I don't know which one. There's a guy that once he got a Kemper, he's gone just off the deep end of just it's a Kemper or there is nothing else on the planet.
Oh.
But I think, which is understandable, it's great, but like if every comment is it's a Kemper, it's like you gotta it just becomes predictable. Do you think that there's do you worry about intellectual property, right? Because Kemper models so accurately so many different types of amps. Do you think that there's anything wrong with that? Because it's just, you think about it, it really is a super accurate modeler of a bunch of really good super high-end amps, and the companies that get nothing.
It's an interesting question because when I actually purchased it, while it was in shipping, I found Henning's video. It was like a 3-part series, and each video was like
really
45 minutes long.
He was really bent out of shape about it, which got me thinking about it.
Yeah. I don't think it's any different than some of these Chinese makers that copy amp circuits and designs and maybe change one very small component and call it something entirely different. You know, for instance, I know that there are people that sell profiles for the profiler. That's a pretty popular industry now. That's one way people that have studios that no longer have people coming to those studios because everybody has a home studio. That's one way they're sort of continuing a revenue stream, is to take the amplifiers and things that they've had and profile them and then sell them and make them available. I guess here's my thing, and I'll be very honest about why I bought one and what my alternatives were. I mean, first off, I'm a tech guy, so I'm not afraid of the buttons and switches and the lights and all the gizmos that are in it that you have to deal with. That doesn't concern me. But when I was looking at it, literally for the same price, the same exact price as the Kemper remote, or not the remote, the Kemper Profiler, that's a non-powered one. I'm running into 2 KRK Rocket 5 monitors, which are relatively flat response monitors. I think they're a little bass heavy, but that's a whole separate discussion. Same exact price was a Friedman Pink Taco 20 mini combo. And that's his kind of Van Halen era, like 78 through 81, 82 kind of Marshall sound.
JCM, hot rodded JCM 800 kind of pushy thing.
Yeah, yeah. And that was really the sound that I wanted. But I do a lot of playing at the local church. And we play with a silent stage. And everybody runs into a PA, you know, and the problem that you get is not only did that PT-20, not only did the Friedman not have any sort of XLR capability, but it didn't even have a built-in reverb. Now, I understand that many people have these gigantic pedal boards, and reverb is one of, I mean, how many reverb pedals are available today? Let's be honest. And how different are they all really? But anyway, I've never been a pedal guy. I know that there are plenty of people in this chat right now that do quite a few pedal reviews. Sorry, Shane. But I do not own a single guitar pedal. Not one. I don't have one.
Wow.
And I used to have a full board, and I had the Boss TU2 chromatic tuner on the far right side of my board, like most gigging musicians do. But for me, it wasn't so much the sound, although don't get me wrong, it sounds fantastic. It was the flexibility, it was the ins and the outs, it was the remote that you can get for it that has a built-in looper. It's got a built-in strobe tuner. It's got all the effects you could possibly want. Yeah, and you can get all these different sounds. Now, if I were to go find a profile called Friedman Pink Taco, and I play that through.
What a name! What a name!
Oh, they're all great. All of Friedman's amps are named awesomely dirty. They're great.
Yeah, they are.
They're barely double on timers. Yeah.
But I think I'm making a very long-winded discussion here to say I think it's an indictment on the amplifier manufacturers to make more versatile amplifiers to deal with the modern age and what people are dealing with. That Friedman amplifier is no different than a Marshall amp that was built, the very first JTM 45 that rolled off the assembly line. There's no more ins, there's no more outs. There's a guitar input, and that's it. That's what you get. And for most of us sitting here that have you know, it's just not practical. You know, now it's practical in a vacuum of having no alternatives, but in the world where there's all the alternatives in the world, if you can save the dough to buy something like a Kemper, you know, I had some, matter of fact, let me back up one more step from this. Before I spent the money on a Kemper, I tried to basically homebrew a Kemper type thing. And the way I wanted to do it was do what basically Pixie Licks does, which is I've got a very powerful computer here. So I went and bought a $150 audio interface that plugged in over USB 3. It had really fast sampling rates, yada, yada, yada. I bought Bias Head, or what's it called, Bias Amp, which is the software that lets you tweak anything you want in an amplifier right down to the, the amount of dust on the outside of the case. I bought it, and then I bought its accompanying piece of software called Bias Effects, which is exactly what you would think. You make your amp inside Bias Amp. You take that amplifier head, you stick it in Bias Effects, and now here's my reverb and my delay and anything else I wanted, my overdrives and whatever. And that would sound really good as long as you had your guitar's volume wide open. But I'm the kind of person who likes to play the old Allman Brothers stuff, and I like to roll my volume on and off, and I like that interaction. I like that interaction with the guitar. And when you did that, it would become let's just say not ideal. It would become it was like it was getting a very weak input signal, and no matter what PC you have, I mean, I've got an i7 with 16 gig of RAM. Yeah, I mean, I was not bound by my computer whatsoever, and it just didn't sound good. Now, one thing I will say about Bias is they gave me a full refund for all of that software, every bit of it. They were very cool to work with. Now, I only had it for like a day or two, but I could tell very quickly this wasn't going to work for me, right? So I did that. Then I thought, well, what about, everybody's using these iRigs. Sorry, I'm dominating the conversation here, Shane. I've got a lot to say. I've got a lot to say on this topic. I'm
secretly just doing something in the background while I'm listening, so it's all good. Yeah. I got to just send a link out to someone else.
I love this grenade.
Yeah. You actually increased viewership, man, so it's all good. Keep going.
Yeah, funny we catch you while you're doing that, though.
So I thought, okay, well, the PC thing would have been really sweet if that would have worked out, but let's take a step back and look at the entire situation. I play not in this office, which is where I'm sitting now. I can't take my entire PC and my studio monitors and I can't take that with me. Now, if you had a laptop, you could, but I don't. So I thought, well, what about these iRigs, right? I mean, they're cheaper, but what do you really need? You just need an interface and a processor to deal with the software. So I tried the new iRig that just came out at NAMM 2017 in the winter. It's the iRig Pro I/O. And the whole point of the I/O was it had more input-output options. You could run MIDI through it. You could do all this stuff. But the main thing was you could hook a power supply up to it and power your phone while you were playing your guitar through it, which that's the first one, believe it or not, that's had that ability. So I thought, well, that's something that would be really sweet. I've got my phone on me everywhere I am, no matter where I'm going. I show up with a phone, a guitar, and a cable, and that's it. That's my rig. That didn't sound nearly as good. That didn't sound nearly as good as Bias Amp and Bias Effects on the computer. It did not. Now, would it be okay for? I mean, really, what I've noticed is the high gain stuff. Like if you think about Pixie, and I love his stuff. I love everything he does. He's so fun to watch, and I was hoping he'd join here. I'd love to meet the guy and be able to speak to him.
Actually, I just sent him a link while we were talking, so I said no pressure. But if he's dressed and clothed, he's welcome to join. So.
At least from the waist up.
But think about in his videos, think about what you hear him play. He always is playing some very high gain Kramer, Ibanez. It's always a high gain thing, or he plays clean, but it's a clean patch. He's not rolling on and off the volume on the guitar that much.
Yeah,
right?
It's a different thing.
It's a different way of playing, and it just doesn't work for me. Now, for everybody else here that doesn't mess with their volume knob, it's probably an awesome solution.
Now, let me ask you a quick question. In terms of your Kemper, you never use it with an external speaker box, do you? You just use it straight into a PA system every time.
Right here behind me, it runs into these KRK monitors.
Okay,
that's how I hear it here in the room.
You'll never be in a situation right now, at least, where you're running it on top of a single 12-inch box.
No,
okay.
No, but you can do that.
Yeah, I know. The reason I ask is because a mate of mine's got that exact amp. He had a 300-watt EV speaker and it blew at gig volumes because the amp's output is 400 watts. Like, why?
Actually, Shane, it's 600. It's 600.
600 watts. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
I wondered how you get around that. You know, you obviously need to think about, like, you need at least a couple of speakers that can handle that and drop the overall or spread the watts between the speakers, or you just have to find some ridiculously loud PA speaker.
Yeah,
if you were to do that, but you're not. So that was my question. I wondered whether or not you were running it as a conventional amp in any situation. That's the one.
My problem there again is, to me, you have to think about what. Okay, so there are two reasons you would do that. Number one, it's because you happen to have a guitar cab hanging around, right? I don't think anybody's going to go buy a Kemper and then think to themselves, you know what I need to go with this? I need a 120-pound guitar cabinet to sit this thing on top of.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that's really the way that works. Yeah. Or you would do it because you're convinced that listening to it through studio monitors is not the same experience as playing it through a guitar cab. Those are really your two options on why you would do that. I find the experience of listening to it through studio monitors more than acceptable. I mean, I think it's
absolutely.
I think I mean, you ever had those situations where you get a new piece of gear and you go to practice or you go to a rehearsal or even to a performance, and somebody that has heard you play a lot comes up and says, "That sounded really good. Did something change? This is as good as you've ever sounded." 3 separate people, all members of the band on separate accord, came up and said that about the Kemper.
You know what it was? You were just hitting better notes, mate. You know how crappy you play guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
If anyone who hasn't heard Ryan play, he's an absolute monster. So I'm only that's the sarcasm alert. A lot of people don't seem to get my sarcasm on here, but not between you guys, but just in the chat.
I mean, there's no doubt. I guess to put the bow around this conversation, Nick, I do think it would be wise of the amp manufacturers to become experts at creating this digital content. Just like I think it would behoove one of those companies to become an expert at how to market and use the YouTube platform. Shane has spoke about that in the past. Wampler Pedals, great example. Give me one more. Name one more that does a really good job.
See, there's a lot of companies out there that use YouTube, but they don't get it. Wampler is the only company that gets it.
Yeah.
That I know of. Like, there might be others, but they really understand. He understands what works and what people are looking for, and he's worked it out really, really quickly. So
they all think they're like, oh, why should I give it to you? We'll just start our own channel, and you come back and they've got 12 videos up, each with 747 views. And you're like,
oh, yes.
But it happens. It's because they don't build a marketplace. They build a following, that kind of stuff.
The interesting thing is I was doing some research because before I bought the Kemper, I was going down the route of I'm going to, I've been skirting around not playing tube amps, and I'm just going to bite the bullet. I'm going to go for it, and I'm just going to buy a really nice tube amp that does one thing really well. And somehow somebody was talking one night about Dumble, Alexander Dumble, right, who built all the famous amps in the 80s for all these great guitar players. And I was reading some interviews with him because you got to think during that time there were digital alternatives to what he was doing. And he said in an interview, there will be a day where the digital processing, the quality will reach a point to where it catches or even surpasses analog circuits. And think about the Kemper. we're having a conversation now about, is it so good that it's unfair to classical manufacturing companies from a business standpoint that it exists? That's the conversation we're having. The technology in that thing, the processor that's in there, these things have been out since like 2011, right? So that's 6 years ago. So how long do you think they had been building that thing to actually have a release in 2011? I bet that processor is a 2008 or 2009 piece of technology, if I had to guess. It just happens to be that the software running on top of it has advanced to a level that is so good that it's very, very, very convincing. I don't even like using that word because it doesn't feel convincing to me. It just feels like I'm playing an amplifier.
An amp.
All right. I got to just chime in. One thought. I've had this exact experience. I've actually tried these amps, I should say. A mate of mine's got one. They replicate the amp and the feel of playing an amp without effects, but they're not for people who enjoy using a lot of pedals. They don't respond the same as they would, and that's inherent of all digital amps. I don't think you'll ever get a sound that works as well with a digital front end with external effects as you would using an analog amp, and that's just my 2 cents. But for studio application and all that kind of stuff,
or touring,
all of that,
touring or playing
awesome.
Multi, it's brilliant.
The other thing I always thought, sorry, 1 sec, I'll forget otherwise. I was going to say, Ryan, have you ever tried the two notes torpedo live through an analog amp?
I have not. That's an application for a real amplifier, right?
It is, yeah. So that's what I record all my demos through.
But see, if I understand it correctly, Shane, that is the cab equivalent of the Kemper. Is that right?
Yeah, but you get the feel and the whatever else from the actual amp itself. And a lot of the speaker references are modeled from the actual boxes as well. Just 1 sec, too, guys. Sorry, Nick. I'll let you speak in a sec. I just wanted to give Lando a shout out as well. He just donated $5 Canadian to the chat. He was on here earlier, so thanks for that, mate. He says, can't there be a debate question? Fender or Gibson? Which is best? Go.
No winners.
Well, I think Fender are more practical guitars, but I like Gibson more.
Yeah.
I would say Fender just because you can keep one in tune for a whole
That's where I was going.
Fenders are the A47s of guitars.
Yeah.
Take a licking and keep on ticking.
No, yeah. I like Gibson style guitars a lot more, but I understand that Fenders stay in tune better. They are more durable, and they're just all around a more practical guitar to have.
Shane, speaking of Gibsons, did you see my post I sent to you about that string butler for Gibson guitars?
I don't know.
I sent you an email or something a little while ago.
Yeah, I remember looking at it. I don't remember exactly what it was. It might have been while I don't know. I've been editing so much, cramming to go away, so I don't recall.
It was just a post that I saw somebody put up on YouTube, and it's a little device that you attach into the high and low E furls, and what it does is it's got a couple of rollers that when you restring your D and G strings on your Gibson, it makes the strings go straighter before it goes out to the tuners.
Oh, cool.
And it looked, it's called String Butler.
Okay.
Oh, I've seen that. It just goes on the top of your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like it would probably, solve, or at least attempt to solve to some degree, the problem you get with your Gibsons. D and G strings taking that 15, 20 degree turn as it goes out the nut, and from what I understand, from what I remember the Gibson I had myself, that was probably the lion's share of the tuning problems with them. So string butler, if you guys let me show it again.
Can you see that? I'll click a couple of
That's it.
That's it. Yep.
And it looked like it almost looks
it mounts underneath the tuning peg washers, and
they hold it down.
It almost looks like
cool.
a must-have if you have like a Gibson Les Paul. So you see what it does with the strings? Your D and your G string there go straight for a little while, and then it goes through those little posts and off to
That's great.
It looks like a very clever idea.
I'm interested in getting one for my guitar.
That'll definitely be something, worth checking out for sure.
That looks like a must-have for Gibson guys.
Oh yeah. Well, because they don't stay in tune. It's the Gibson break in between every song when you watch a good band play.
I think an Epiphone naturally stays in tune a bit better for some reason. I feel Epiphones do. I think it's because instead of 17-degree break angle on the headstock, it's a 14-degree break angle on the headstock on an Epiphone.
You might be right. Yeah, I don't know much about that sort of stuff. It could be.
And it's funny you mentioned it because you always hear people bitching about their Gibsons never staying in tune. I don't recall hearing such a diatribe about Epiphones, and they're practically the same guitar.
Yeah.
Design.
No, you're right. I played an Epiphone for years, a .335 one, and I don't ever recall having the same tuning problems I had with as opposed to my Gibson. So
this guitar stays in perfect tune most of the time, relatively, of course. Like if you leave it for a day, you got to tune it. But but that might have to do with the 12-gauge strings. That's pretty heavy.
Heavier
strings do stay in tune better.
Cool. But, sorry, Nick. What did you say before I cut you off twice?
So the challenge I have with Kemper, because I would love to buy one, and in fact I've really gotten close a lot of times. I get option paralysis on it, like because it's just so much there. It's a great and someone asked about Axifex. Axifex was the Kemper before there was a Kemper, but the interface isn't nearly as good. Kemper did a really good job of allowing you to do most of the stuff on the front, or then connecting into the interface, which works awesome. Love it. But like, there's something to being said to like having even just a Boss DS1 pedal and a stupid, simple tube amp and trying to chase tones and find out and get inspired by just forcing it. You can do the same thing of being like, hey, let me just pick this random preset, go this way with it. I guess it's all 6 to 1, half dozen the other. But there's something about the challenge of doing the most with a little in the creative process that I really personally dig.
There's a lot to be said for that, Nick. But the other thing you have to think about is cost. You can have all of those options for the same cost as what you're saying. So let's say you are a person who suffers from the analysis paralysis thing. Pick one profile and stick with it. I use performance mode, and I use one of the stock profiles, just tweaked a little bit. And I have 5 different sounds. I've got a clean, a crunch, a rhythm, a heavy rhythm, and then a solo that's got delay on it. I use one amp, but I got that flexibility and everything that goes on there, the tuner, the looper, the whole thing, for the same price as if I would have had a piece of technology from 1962 where I plug a guitar lead in and that's all I get.
A 5E3 and a whatever.
Right.
The basics. Still fun though. I don't know,
but you're right about what you're saying. I think the way I get over it is I want to understand all the features and understand how to take advantage of all the features, and whether or not I choose to use them in my current application or not is just based on what my needs are. As long as I feel like I understand the whole thing, I'm cool with it.
Cool. All right, so you're an endorsed artist now, Ryan. I reckon you spoke nothing but high praise.
It's just the best. It's the best you can buy for what I like out of a piece of gear, and somebody else is going to like something else. But for me, it's the right piece of gear.
Cool.
How much did they pay you?
That's what.
I don't.
Nah.
Now we get to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
Definitely for someone who wants to plug into a PA, you definitely got to get it. Just a quick question: you used to use your Mustang version 2 into a PA system as well. In your opinion, how much does it vary from that to say a Kemper?
Well, I'm not saying
in terms of just the sound that you used to get. I know the sound will be different, but I'm curious to know how different they are.
I guess if I went and found, because I always use the supersonic profile on the Mustang 3 version 2.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
I would dial that up and put it on kind of like a gain at about 4, and just everything else I'd clean would just be rolling down the volume knob.
Yeah.
I guess if I found a supersonic on this and tried to do the same, I imagine it would be indistinguishable to somebody who is not somebody like the people in this chat room right now.
Yeah.
But I will say there's a lot more, and it may just be because I'm using more of an AC style amplifier here that has a little more hair on the top end than like a supersonic does, which tends to be a little more mid-range focused. But there just seems to me to be a lot more detail. I mean, it's almost like the difference between the Mustang version 2 and then the new GTs that came out, where Shane, your term is 3D. You always say it doesn't have the 3D sound. To me, that's the difference.
You would certainly hope it would be a little bit better than the Mustang 3.
considering how old they are, too. You know, like,
well,
and the price difference.
Yeah. What really got me, I mean, I've only had this thing for like a week. And what got me going on it was, of all things, our buddies over at Anderton's did that video where they compared the Kemper to a, what do they call that thing? The amplifier, atomic amplifier, the little red box thing. And then they compared that to the original Line 6 pod, the red kidney looking thing. And I would encourage everyone to go watch that video. Because I was shocked at a couple things. And these are just my I almost don't even want to say it because I'd like you to form your own opinion. But number one, the pod did not sound nearly as bad as you would think it would.
No, it is a reference tone for an entire genre of music, from Korn through all that stuff. Most of that came out of a pod.
Yeah. And the amplifier, the atomic product, did not sound nearly as good as I thought it would. Those were my two takeaways, and the Kemper still was, head and shoulders, in my opinion. But you're also paying 4 times the amount of the atomic amplifier to get a Kemper. And you're paying who knows how many times of an original pod, certainly in today's dollars.
Well, they're like $30 or something now, those things, or what?
Oh, there's no telling. There's no telling. They'll probably become vintage here pretty soon, and then they'll start going up again.
Yeah. Shane said he paid $100 for his Line 6 pod last night.
No. I think
the
Line 6 Helix actually looks pretty good.
Oh yeah, Phil McKnight. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he had one.
I have one sitting in a box that I still haven't used. It's sitting right over there. But just for that exact thing, there's a couple of keytones that it just does it well.
What's that yellow guitar behind you, man?
That's a GFS Telemaster. So it's like a Jazzmaster set up with a Tele with a flame maple Strat neck actually on it. It's a
cool.
mongrel. But it's okay, hold on.
Yeah, cool. That looks really good.
Oh, you twisted his arm right off.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's always great to grab something off the wall. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's see, she's nice.
It's fun to show off your guitars.
Oh yeah, and then it's got a nice flame maple neck to it. But it's the finish on the neck is way too thick. It's just that import kind of cheesy.
Yeah, I know.
It's
kind of sticky.
And I have it rewired. I got it and it's wired for just 2 volume knobs, and the pickups are super bright without a tone switch to tone to kind of roll them off. And
okay.
There's a bunch of things wrong with it, which is why it sits in the 3 guitars that are my wall hanger section of, they're nice. It's second-class storage. But pretty low.
Sticky lock.
No, thanks for
no problem.
Oh, sorry, Isaac, go ahead.
The amplifier discussion.
I was just saying that the sticky lacquer makes or breaks the guitar, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I would sometimes sand that sort of stuff back a bit as well, just to
still it down. It needs it.
Well, I like lacquered necks. I like the feel of lacquered necks over natural finish necks, but not sticky lacquer.
Man, this is just thick poly. You can chip out
your hand.
Could be earthing.
Yeah, it's definitely poly. It's some kind of poly.
Hey, we're getting a tour of Dallas, Texas here. Here we go. Oh, man. Should be showing us the view out the window.
He's at the red light district. Look at him.
Yeah, look at his
I don't think he can hear us.
Ahmad, man, they caught you red-handed, dude.
He's got superpowers.
Ahmad, you owe it to all of us to drive very carefully, because the last thing I'm going to be is be like, and then here's a shot from a YouTube video of something awful. So drive carefully.
Well, there's plenty of police over here. That's some little accident.
West Virginia Ryder was asking us what a good amp for around $500 US dollars is to gig with. Something a little more crunchy than a Blues Junior. I would say find a used PV Valve King combo.
Oh, those ones.
I don't really know what you can get for 500 US anymore. I'm a bit out of the loop, but I guess I'll know more about that pretty soon.
Yeah, soon.
And if you get about 3,000 AUD.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But there's a lot of stuff that's way right. Exactly. That's great.
You can get 6 or 7 PV Bandits for that price too. So that would be a good choice.
Wow.
I think we all agreed that a Hot Rod Deluxe or a Blues Deluxe. I like a Hot Rod Deluxe with a Weber. It just, I don't know, it opens my. I've got a limited edition one that opened it up a bunch. But I think that's, for me, probably the best amp there. But I also, there's a Marshall DSL 40C, if you like Marshall-y tones. Isn't bad. What are you pointing at?
The Valve King.
PV Viper VIP 2, $199 US.
It's tough to gig with, though.
No, 40's still loud enough.
Yeah.
You can get the 100-watt version for like.
I do have a question on this front of is it loud enough to gig with type of thing. Are there still gigs? I know how it is here. So my question is for in your areas. Are there still places where you would go play a gig and not mic your amplifier through a PA?
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, all the time. All the time.
Oh, yeah.
I played one on Sunday night. Friday night. I played last Sunday with one as well. And the Saturday prior to that, where I literally just turn my amp up loud, and it's awesome.
So what do you do for vocals? Do you just put the vocals through the PA?
Yeah, that's it. Guitar amps are always loud enough with
vocals, and sometimes you'll mic some of the drums. I'm not a drum tech, so can't tell you what you mic, but you'll see 2 or 3 mics off of some sort of drums going up, the vocals going up, and that's it.
In the rooms I play, which aren't big venues, we very rarely ever mic up anything. There's one venue that requires everything to be mic'd, and they'll do a front of house mix. But generally, all we use the front of house, the PA speakers for is vocals and acoustic guitar occasionally. But
yeah,
okay.
I think in Queensland there's no such thing as a culture in which you go to a club to play.
Isn't it funny how though?
Outside of it.
Isn't it funny how then, like, when Shane says, you just turn your amp up, everybody breaks out into a smile when you say that. There's something very pleasing and visceral about turning your amp up. Yeah, you just.
Well, I deliberately use a low wattage amp to do that.
Yeah.
I deliberately like to have a low wattage amp just so I can crank it.
Well, if you haven't, one of the most visceral experiences I ever had was going on stage, a buddy's band, and I got to sit in for one song with a full stack, 2 4x12s, and I think it was a Marshall 50 or 100 pushing them. The feeling of
oh my god,
of that much air and just tearing through a punk song was just one of those things that changes your life, because you can't do that with headphones, and you can't do that even in your room at a sensible volume or a mic thing, even though that may sound the best on a record.
With that kind of rig, you're moving so much air you can probably lean against it and not fall.
You feel it.
Yeah, it's visceral. Well, that's what I was saying before. It's like what bass playing is. It's visceral. You
feel like God.
You feel your music as opposed to hear your music.
The bass front, I play a bit of bass at the jam nights, and it's just such a great feeling having the power. It rocks. Absolutely. So I've got John here as well, mate. We've got some car journeys going on. This is cool.
I'm not going anywhere. I just snuck out of work. Sitting in the passenger seat, sort of, so that the Americans don't freak out.
Hey,
John, that looks like your boss in the rear window. He's looking at you. He looks.
Yeah, someone's waving at you.
I'm actually on a break, so that's all right.
All right, cool. How's things, man? What's cooking?
Same old stuff, mate. Not much happening, but was saying to you, as you know, a few times, I was saying, when are we going to have one of these again? And sure enough, you've scheduled it for when I'm working. So
I made sure of that. I thought we've got to avoid. No. I thought
that's it. And I said, no, I'm going to get out and fix him up.
It's just been crazy. Literally, just trying to get on top of stuff, and it always gets bumped back, and it's just one of those things. But yeah, I'll try and make it more often. From now on, I'm back on top of all my crap I got to do. So.
John, maybe we should work to find out when you were watching, so we could schedule it.
Everyone send me their work timetables.
Yeah. Otherwise, I was just thinking, maybe we should try to, amongst ourselves, also organise a few for like when other people are busy as well.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, we can do them whatever works.
I mean, I'd be happy to rig one up as well, but it's also having the contacts, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always happy to join other people's live streams. I have no problems with that. So you've got most of you people have my email and all that sort of stuff. So
cool.
Yeah, I think someone should just make a chat channel.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. Guitar live stream
channel. Chat channel.
Guitar Nerds United
community.
Yeah, more of an open community.
Maybe I could take that initiative. I've been wanting to actually start a channel lately. Maybe I could be all guitar talk all the time. Hangout channel.
That'd be good, man.
Cool. Yeah, because I was going to do that, but I just don't have the means.
Right back.
No worries. So we just got asked who's in charge of swapping the camera around. Now, Google or YouTube basically is the cameraman. Occasionally, I'll click on someone if they're going to talk for a while, and it locks it in. So if anyone,
sorry about that.
Oh no,
yeah,
Brian. Brian, we love you, bud. Don't worry about it.
See, if everyone else is talking now, I can just keep it locked on myself. But occasionally, I might forget to unlock it. So you'll see the camera just stay on someone while someone else is talking. But yeah, Google or YouTube basically assigns it. Sometimes depending on your actions too. I've noticed sometimes if people hold something up really quick, the camera will swap, even if they don't make any noise. It's kind of weird how it works. I'm not sure how what the situation is with that, but anyway. All right. Anyone?
Go get
Sorry.
him, no,
Oh no!
Oh,
Broke his Mac.
Steve's gonna trade his bass in on a new camera.
Oh shit!
50 grand. Oh no!
No, you know what it is? I got. I think I have the same computer as Shane does. I've got an iMac 27-inch, and if I put my camera up on top of the screen, it looks like you're looking down from the top of a baseball stadium. You know.
Yeah.
So I've been experimenting with just resting it on something a little bit lower here, and I got it just on a shoebox sitting here right here. When I breathe on it, it falls over. So,
That iMac doesn't have a built-in camera?
It does, but it's not as good as my Logitech camera.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'm doing exactly the same thing too. So I've got my camera is built into the thing here, but I'm using a Logitech because it looks way better. I'll show you the difference. This is the one I've always been using. This is the other one.
Yeah.
what a difference.
Yeah, it's horrible.
No, it's a big difference using the built-in one versus an aftermarket.
Wow.
I just can't believe Apple.
Completely
You spend $3,000 whatever on a Mac here, and they don't put a HD webcam in or 720p, which is garbage. It's not garbage.
I don't even have a webcam, so on my computer, so I'm on my phone right now.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, the front-facing
tablet, but it's also my phone.
All those front-facing cameras on Apple products just aren't anywhere near quite as good as the
back one.
The back ones are always so much better. I'm surprised they didn't put a good quality camera in a better quality webcam in the IMAX. But anyway.
Well, no kidding. That's a long-term purchase. I mean, that's not that's not even like an iPhone, which you're going to swap out at least probably 2 years, 2.5 to 2 years or something. It's probably. But an iMac, if you buy a nicely spec'd iMac, you could run that for quite a while. I mean, you could really. I mean, basically until they quit supporting software for that particular model, right? And they put a potato in for a camera. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I expect to have this computer for probably 4 or 5 years, or until I get fed up with trying to render 4K video on it, and then I'll upgrade to something else, or I'll build a Hackintosh or something at some point. But
the monitors on these are real nice too because they're 5K, they're Retina, and
5K screen with a 720p webcam.
Yeah. But it works for me, especially because outside, the most stress I put on my computer is this. But also, I play a flight simulator.
Cool.
Oh, there you go.
That is super detailed. It's X-Plane 11, and you have to do everything with it from put air in the tires in the airplane to plan your flight and fly it. And
just
really
remember, practice as many landings or takeoffs, or the NSA will come talk to you.
Yes, they know me well at this point, and all I need to do is I don't need to learn how to take off and land. All I just need to do is fly into buildings.
They are releasing a new iMac Pro coming out with 18 cores, so it's got a Xeon processor and all that kind of stuff in there.
Yeah, it will be all of the money.
Yeah, 4,000 US for the base model.
I've got to admit, I love Apple.
How much is that in AUD?
I spoke to it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ron.
Go ahead, Shane. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I spoke to an Apple guy that I know, and he said they're going to start at 7,000 Australian dollars.
Right on.
Yeah.
It's good money.
Everything's expensive in Australia these days. I think a lot of it's just that we're the most taxed country in the world. So that might have something to do with it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, AMD's top Threadripper CPU, 16 cores, 32 threads, is under $1,000 US.
Yeah,
AMD's going to be killing it with the new Ryzen stuff. I'm right into that stuff. So, I'm going to give them a go at some point.
Shane, you know what I wanted?
An absolute piece of junk.
I recently did the iMac back to PC switch, and it's just amazing the hardware you get out of a PC compared to what you get in an iMac for the same cost. It's just
See, this is the thing though. Like, that was the thing that put me off buying a Mac for years for video editing, because it's like, well, the specs aren't as good as what I could build. They're nowhere near as good. But then you realize how well the software works, and the rendering time is so much quicker. And for particular tasks, the hardware is almost, well, it's not irrelevant, but the specs of it isn't what you base your decision on. It was such a hard thing for me to do, being like a Microsoft nerd and a tech guy for years. I never really wanted to spend money on an inferior computer. But then you find out like how well it handles stuff, even in comparison to a much higher end PC. And you go, wow, okay, so I've just saved myself 90% of my time rendering files out. Like, it's so much, it is so much faster. And I bet anyone else here who's done the switch and used Final Cut or whatever will go, wow, that works really well compared to Sony Vegas or something.
Or Sony, or whatever Adobe's thing is too. It's also so the ramp up into Final Cut. If you've had iMovie or any other stuff, it's very quick and you're jamming on it. Where if you try to go to one of those other ones, it's painful, and it just does it well. Plus, there's a huge community around it. Cheap, but the computers. Luckily, I haven't bought a Mac in a while. My work is nice enough to do it for me.
Shane, I wanted to tell you that since I have this flight simulator program, if you tell me when you're taking off, I'll fly the simulator program.
So he gets there quick.
27
and as you're flying
hours
along,
later.
you can get the stewardess. You can say, "There's a guy flying alongside us in like a CGI generated 787." I'll wait. I'll fly right along with you.
There's some old guy in a sleigh with a white beard.
Steve. My brother's an airplane. My brother's an airplane mechanic, and he works on the small jets and like the corporate jets and stuff. And he's all into. He's got the controllers and the floor paddles, and I mean, he's got the whole 9 yards for the flight sim stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. I was that way with racing simulators for a while. I got the wheel and the pedals and all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. That's actually why I have this hoss of a computer over there, which now I do a lot of email on. So, what are you going to do? Because you can't, that's the problem, is you can't turn around and sell the thing because somebody's going to give you shekels for it compared to what you paid for it, so.
What's the only thing good about Apple is resale value. A 10-year-old Mac laptop is still $500. A 2-year-old Toshiba is $500.
And you know what? It's probably still working, too.
Yep.
There's one thing about Apple's iMacs, iPads, they last. Mm-hmm. They go much longer than a PC does. I've had PCs that have punked out on me in 3 years.
Yeah,
I've got an iMac Pro that is 8 years old, and while it's getting a little cranky, it's still going. And they don't support it anymore with software. The other thing people have gotten down on Apple about is say, well, everything's proprietary. With my PC, I can go out and buy an NVIDIA card. I can stick this and I can stick this in it. And that's true, you can do that. But because Apple has everything proprietary, they also keep control over the stuff that goes into their computers. So if they're not worried about somebody sticking, an XYZ brand computer chip or something in their PC and it blows up and then they're running around saying, oh, my brand XYZ is junk. Well, the thing of it is that the PC makers really don't have any control over what you put in your computer. And, when you buy an Apple, everything's proprietary and everything is spec to their thing and they control the whole thing. So I have a feeling that's got something to do with why they last as long as they do, too.
Yeah, but if you research stuff, you usually know what you can put into a PC that'll make it work.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But the quality control of the aftermarket parts doesn't necessarily match the quality control of the computer maker.
That's the big difference. Like a lot of software on a Mac, from what I understand, is optimized to work with the hardware, and it all kind of especially when it comes to the GPU and all that kind of stuff. You can buy, like, my main PC is spec'd out way better than my Mac, but it can't even handle. It wouldn't handle 4K anywhere near as well as what the Mac does with lower specs. And I've got a 1060 NVIDIA card in that one and all that kind of stuff, and it just doesn't practically work as well for the task I need it to do. If you're a gamer, you wouldn't buy a Mac, like a full-time, if you're full-blown into all the latest games and all that kind of stuff. But for doing editing, video editing and that, it's definitely a really good. And it just, you turn it on and you're good to go most of the time as well. I like them both. I like them both things. I do all my audio editing on my PC still because I know the software that's on there and it works great. But video editing, I'm converted over, man.
It's shocking to me that there's not a Final Cut competitor for the PC that works just as easily or as well. Seems like a really big market that you could take a bite out of.
Adobe's is good. Adobe's is good. It's just and I've been doing.
What do they call it? Premiere.
Premiere, and it's really confusing, and there's just. It's
no good. It's not good then. That means it's not good, right?
Well, no, it's nerdy, right? Like if you've been doing Premiere for 10 years, you got a certain pride that I know that the next guy can't figure this out in 5 minutes. But that's like me with Cisco routers and switches. It doesn't mean that it can't be done better or smarter. It just means that they've raised the bar kind of artificially for you must be this tall for this ride.
Right.
I mean, it has to be intuitive. It just has to be intuitive. I invested enough to have,
Yeah.
So welcome to the tech show, everyone watching.
Yeah.
This is you can tweet us at guitartechnerds. No.
This is the same conversation of Fender or Gibson.
Now we're up to Apple versus Fender.
Yes.
Apple versus Fender.
Yeah, this is from Lando. So thanks for that, man.
They're both. same niche.
If you guys are going to start talking about guitars, I'm going to go.
I'm going to sit in my car.
No, man, don't be like that.
So we did have a question
Actually,
about... Oh, sorry, go ahead, John.
No, I was saying, actually, I do have to run, unfortunately. But I just wanted to hop on, say hi to everyone. I hate these things going on without me.
Thanks for joining.
Hopefully, we can all get together soon and find ways to keep it regular.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, let's do it. Thanks again, man. Guys. Thanks for joining in.
Yeah, man.
I'll catch you all on the replay.
Take it easy, John.
No worries,
have a good morning, afternoon, night, whatever you're doing.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
We got a question regarding the katanas and our thoughts on them. So Ryan was probably the only guy in here that owns one. Or owned one. I only had a chance to test one.
He used to own one.
I did. Yeah,
I did. ...
So what was the main reason you flipped it in the end? Was it just lack of functionality on the fly? Maybe was that part of it?
I mean,
he looks like a sad man.
It's the same reason the last time we were all together, I think I was giving a speech check out my new Fender American Professional Stratocaster that I bought. Why would I ever get rid of this guitar? It's the best Stratocaster Fender Strat you can buy. You'll see it's gone now, right? I don't have a Strat anymore. So, and I was saying, why would you ever get rid of it? Just keep it because you're going to want one again. Really, that was it. I guess for me, I remember one time I heard it was at one of the YouTube summits with Tone King and Pixie and Shane and all those guys. And Nick, you were in there, and you said something about one time Steve did a review of a Gibson or something, and it cost you like 4 different Gibsons or something like that. It was seeing that Anderton's. Basically going back and watching that and thinking, okay, I looked at these things. Actually, full disclosure, I owned a Kemper in 2013. So 4 years ago, I had one, but it didn't have a foot controller.
The software.
Yeah, it didn't have a foot controller. It didn't have any software for PC or Mac to help organize all these profiles. It had nothing. All you had was the head itself. And it's not the most, I mean, try typing on a lunchbox. I mean, it's just not very good. But that has all improved by leaps and bounds. And honestly, back then I was afraid they were going to release like version 2. And then here I'm going to be with this version 1 that nobody's going to want. And 4 years later, they're still releasing firmware updates regularly.
It's the smartest thing they did. That's smart,
at
right?
this point, it's a different amp. Ampers are now different amps than they were just because of the updates and the new software.
And Chris Kemper himself has said if it would ever come a time that they would release a number 2, which he said currently there are no plans for, by the way, the profiles are done in such a way that more processing power or more memory or whatever would not improve nor degrade existing profiles.
Right.
So, I don't know exactly. I mean, you can tell when you listen to the Kemper do its profiling thing, it's doing some sort of convolution, like a convolution reverb almost, on how it's determining. It's not just an EQ, it's more than that. But the files, like when you get a single rig, you're talking about smaller than an MP3 from the 90s. I mean, it's like the size of a text file. It's like less than 1K, right? I mean, they're tiny. And that's the thing. Like, you can go out and buy these rig packs from people for $30, $40, $50, whatever, depending on who it is and what the amp is and whatever. And what you end up with is a zip file that's 1/10 of 1 megabyte. So I don't know exactly how the thing works, obviously, but what was the question? Was there a question?
Why did you sell it? Why did you sell it?
We forget.
What did you
Katana?
think?
The reason I got it was just I played that bias amp on the PC, and it sounded better than the Katana coming out of studio monitors. With the volume wide open, it sounded better than the Katana. And I thought, oh, damn. You know, because I thought the Katana was like the perfect, like it was so, that amp was so meant for the way I play and what I do. But after I heard that, it was like, oh, you know, and I tried to get the same thing out of the Katana, just couldn't do it. And that kind of led me down the path of, okay, let's do something different. And my heart was really telling me to buy a tube amp, but my head was saying, you know, for the same price, you can get the Katana, and for just a little more, you can buy it with the controller, the foot controller, which is very good. It's really good. And you've got a lot more functionality and a lot more sounds, you know. So I think that's what really did it for me. The other thing is, a lot of these amps, I don't know why amp manufacturers still haven't caught on to the fact that not everybody wants a 100-watt half stack or even a 50-watt or a 40-watt.
They're getting there. There's a handful of good 20, 25 in that range.
But still, that could blow your head off depending on what kind of cab you've got underneath of it, you know.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah, which,
yes, it can.
Which is not necessarily bad, but it's like if I want to hear the sound of a Marshall cranked, I don't want to have to crank a Marshall, right? I mean, I that is so loud. And once you've experienced, I mean, everybody should experience that once, right? I mean, you know, but yeah, I mean, I just, you know, it was like, what sound am I looking for? Okay, what does it take to get that? Well, I can go buy that amplifier. It's going to be $3,000, and it's going to do that only. And it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard to transport. You know, I throw that head, the Kemper Profiler and the remote in my old college backpack, and I've got my guitar in my hand, and I can go play anywhere that has a PA.
Someone just called it the toaster. I thought that was a good.
Yeah, that's what they call it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm a big. I mean, it's a cool. It's just a really neat. It just sounds. It sounds. I guess what I would say is another positive about it is it sounds almost like it's produced. Like when you hear a sound back through it, like a reverb and a chorus with some delay, it sounds produced. It doesn't sound rough at all, and that's neat. You know, I mean, it's just a good sounding piece of gear. If you're into it, you're into it. If you're not, you're not. I mean, I'm not, you know, I could very easily have gone down the Friedman route, and I'd be sitting here telling you how great Friedman amps are, which they are, by the way.
They're amazing.
The Runt, he has an amplifier now called the Runt. It's his first.
I think someone in the chat had one. I saw go by earlier.
Yeah, it's his first non-hand-wired amplifier. It's a PC board-based amp, but it has an XLR out on it. Mm-hmm. And if you all remember, I had Fender, when they came out with the bass breaker series, I had the 15-watt bass breaker, which sounded really good, and it had an XLR output on it. But that XLR output, the volume on it, the output of it was controlled by the master volume of the amp. So whenever I would turn my stage volume up, it would screw up the PA mix.
Yep.
Which
I
is
remember telling me about that. That sucks.
Which is undesirable.
Missed it by that much.
Yeah. And you know what didn't do that? You know what amp didn't do that? The Mustang version 2 did not do that. You know, it just worked perfectly well. And
you know what you need to do, Ryan? Sell a Kemper, get a stack of Mustang GT200s, and just big wall of sound. You'll be set, mate. That'll be it.
Why don't I just go get a Mustang 3 version 2 and profile it into the Kemper? Then I can use the Kemper to play the Mustang.
Isn't that crossing the streams? Cats and dogs.
Is there a Kemper profile of the Boss Katana yet?
I will tell you there are Kemper profiles of Axe-Effects presets.
Yep.
That exists.
That's super. Well, think of all the touring guys that ran Axe. If you watch Rig Rundown on Premiere, if you look at Watch Rig Rundown, though, a third of the guys have Axe effects up until about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And now 20% of the guys have Kemper or some of Axe effects. It's got to be a very common migration to just move an entire band sound.
Yeah, I mean, the old school thought was the Kemper does the amp sound better, and the Axe effects does effects better. That was what everybody used to say. I have no idea where that line is now, but the fact that we're still sitting around here saying the Mac does video and photo editing better and the PC does everything else better, I would say it's probably still the same argument.
Couldn't surprise me.
But as a guy that doesn't own a single effect pedal, the effects in the Kemper sound pretty damn good to me, I got to tell you.
So you made the crucial mistake, Brian, of focusing too much on your playing and not enough on the gear.
Yeah, that's,
you got it all backwards, man.
What were you thinking?
They're going to revoke my card here.
Yeah.
Take my member's jacket.
So, any new guitars for you, Ryan, or are you pretty much settled on the? What is that? Is that new? That orangey one?
I don't know if I don't even
PRS
remember.
single cut.
Yeah, that is a 5. That's a they're both PRS, the 2 electrics.
Yeah.
That's a 594 single cut.
Yeah.
It's got a rosewood neck on it, and yeah, it's a wood library with a rosewood neck. And then the other one is a 2017 custom 24 that has the 8515 pickups, and it has the new Phase 3 bridge, which that's what I was excited about on that guitar is the new bridge. You know how on a Fender, like it doesn't matter, 2-point or a 6-point tremolo, doesn't matter, and not just Fender, any company. The saddles, each saddle has 2 Allen head screws that go up and down to move the action up and down at the bridge.
Oh, like the Babbitts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just saying every guitar, every Fender bridge style ever has had that. It's just there's one saddle, and then on each corner of the saddle there's a screw that goes up and down. The bottom of that screw is flat, and it sits at just an angle on the base plate. Yeah, and so you don't.
Doesn't quite fit.
Exactly. Yeah, Nick knows what I'm talking about. So with this bridge, what they did is they milled channels into the base plate, and then they domed the bottom of those screws. So the screws sit on a dome in a channel in that base plate, and I'm telling you, it stays in tune just like Floyd. It's really cool. Let me see if I can find you a picture of that, Shane.
Yeah,
I guess I could just bring it. Let me just grab it and I'll bring it over. It's got a maple. It's got
probably the easiest way. Unless you're sitting in front of a green screen. Oh no, he's not. He's all good.
Yeah, it's just a cardboard cutout.
Now, did whoever was in charge of taking the screen capture of Ryan's setup for this video so we can compare it to the next one?
Yeah, absolutely.
You remember?
Ryan made out of the breadth of guitars I has, but he rolls through them pretty impressively.
Yeah, no
Every
effects.
stream for a year. Just different backgrounds.
But
watch the progression.
I think, as Shane was about to say, if you're not having to buy effects pedals, you've got budget for guitars.
Yeah. See, if you look under the saddles,
Yep.
you can see there's 2 channels, one for each screw.
Yep.
And that slides back. That slides back and forth on that channel. It's pretty cool. And then there's your maple.
Oh, look at that, baby.
Oh yeah,
That's what I love.
That is pretty.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it. That's the 24. I think they're the best ones they've ever made. These new pickups that he made in 2015 are the best ones he's done. If you have a PRS from 2015 or forward, you've got the best one that they've put out. And in 2012, they changed the nut material. So that's the other big year, is if you get one from 2012 or newer, you've got the newest nut material. 2015 is the newest pickups.
I just got a question saying, what channel is Ryan from? I don't think you've got a YouTube channel, do you?
No, I don't. I just hang out and dominate the conversation on your channel or somebody else's channel whenever I get.
So I should mention.
Hey, Ryan,
I should mention
this is my channel.
Yeah, yeah, this is right. Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say, this is a hangout for anyone who wants to be involved. So if you want to be on it, email me at intheblues@outlook.com. I usually say that a few times during the stream, but I totally forgot because it's been ages since we did one. So, yeah, most of the other guys, there's about 30 or 40 people on that list, but we tend to get pretty much like the same 10 to 12 people every time, which is fine with me too.
Well, I was refreshing my Hotmail to make sure I got in.
Yeah,
every few seconds, just refresh.
You know, on the topic of necks, I've got a project that's cooking and in the work. I have a Fender Strat. It's a 50s classic series.
Cool.
Nice guitar. It's got a maple neck on it with a soft V neck on it. It reminds me a little bit in feel of the neck that's on the Clapton Strat. But one of the things that I really wanted to do with it was I'm also a fan of Mark Knopfler, and the body on this thing is Fiesta Red. It's very close to the his signature one that they made years ago, but he used a rosewood neck on it. And I just recently came across a neck for sale that should fit my my Fender body, and I wanted to put it together and tweak it up a little bit and make it as close to a Knopfler Strat as I possibly could, because finding the real signature models around these days seem to be
tough.
Very tough.
Yeah.
The ones you see look like they've been relicked, dragged under the bus, and people want ridiculous amounts of money for them. Fender quit making them in 2013, so there's no new source of them. So I said, you know what? I've got a guitar that from the start is about halfway there anyhow.
Yeah, cool.
So I'm going to try this product out. I'll probably talk about it next time we get together, because the neck should arrive to my house on Tuesday. You just got to check the fit into the body.
Put a short video together, man. Just chop it up on your computer or something, and
my guitar.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that'd be a good video. I like those sort of project videos. They're always good fun.
Yeah,
where'd you get the neck from? If you don't mind asking.
I found it on eBay, and it's from a place in New Hampshire called the Stratosphere.
Oh, so it came off something else. The great part
you
is
gotta watch it with the Stratosphere, because
they're advertising
the one guy up here in Canada, he had also bought a neck from them.
Yeah.
Was not anywhere close to what he had ordered. He tried to get his money back.
What's his name? Addicted to Gear.
Right? Yeah. And I know a few other people that have kind of gotten screwed around with them, and that's the problem. Is it's hit and miss with them.
Yeah.
So
I gotta imagine it's hit and miss with any kind of replacement neck.
I refuse to buy anything online. I refuse to buy anything online, which is kind of bad because that means I have to go into a store, and I live in Australia.
Well, the hard part about this project
The
hard part about this project I'm trying to do is that it's impossible to find a neck that sort of fits this thing. The reason that I was a little bit encouraged to even try it out is it's a Fender neck. It's an MIM Fender neck, and my guitar is an MIM guitar. Oh. So I'm thinking it really ought to fit. The bolt patch should be fine.
The only spot where you may get funky on those is just the classic 50s. Is that still a Mexican string spacing across the bridge, or is it American one?
Yeah, no, it's mix.
Okay, cool. Then you're good. I know they did some Mexican ones. So take a step back. Anybody that doesn't know Fender stuff,
I would be careful not to mix American and mixed stuff, because even though you look at it, it looks the same. There's usually some minute difference between them, and
The six screw holes.
If it doesn't line up, Steve, just let me know. I've got some outdoor decking screws I can send you, and we'll just run those through the backside right through the top, and then won't be a problem.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. So anyhow, that's a project I have cooking here, and I'm hoping to, by the time I'm finished with it, have something at least visually close to a Knopfler signature guitar.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That'd be sweet, man.
And after that, I might look around for some Texas specials and stick them in, because supposedly that's the pickups he used on them. So
what you should do is now find yourself a Daphne blue body or an Inca gray silver. Take that soft V-neck, put it on that, throw some of the Clapton pickups in it.
Now you got
you made a Clapton and an uplift. You're good.
I'll have two Claptons.
That's how my brain goes.
Just whatever you do, Steve.
Just bleed Strat is the nicest looking Strat.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Isaac. Sorry. Go again.
I was just saying how good that Daphne blue looks on a Strat.
Oh, with a maple neck, it's the
good color. Yeah.
It also looks good with a rosewood neck too.
It does. It looks good with both.
Yeah.
It's good color.
All right, Shane, you twisted my arm right off. I'm just like Nick. I'll show you this other guitar.
I was gonna say, can I get in?
Here's the single cut.
I'm going to change the name of the stream to the Ryan live stream. I'll do it.
That's pretty.
Ryan and a couple other guys.
Yeah.
Ryan, you play well. You're now.
So is that a Samick? Is it? What is that?
Yeah, Samick. Indonesian.
Samick.
Indonesian made.
It's a Harley Benton. That's great.
Yeah, very cool.
There's your neck on this one.
It's an interesting finish. I can see what looked like Terry on the front.
Yeah, there's a picture of Terry imprinted.
There he is.
Ryan, if you've got the personality and the chops, if only you had some nice guitars,
Yeah, if I had the equipment.
I was thinking the same thing.
I don't know what time it is there, or if you're allowed to make any noise, mate. But I always enjoy hearing you bust out some chops. So if we can twist your arm, unless the Kemper's already on, and you got a wireless pack sorted out, we can.
He's got to warm up the transistors first. You got to let those things warm up a little while before it'll make the noise. Remember.
That's right. I've got to crank it up. There's it's like an old tractor. I've got to really pump that thing up to get it started.
Yeah, photo finish. Someone just said on in terms of the front. There you go. So I got to ask you this, man. Do you like? We had this conversation a while back about how PRS doesn't really do the things you were looking for initially in terms of that tally sort of sound, and it looks like now you've just sort of gone for them, I guess, for their own sound, which is what I think is what you need to do if you're going to buy PRS. So
part of the method to my madness here is, I'm sure you're all aware that PRS have a new, well, it's not really new now, relatively new relationship with Mr. John Mayer.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of concert photos of him playing a 3-pickup, double cut Stratocaster looking guitar with a PRS headstock.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm waiting for that guitar to become available. I don't care. I don't have the money, nor do I care to have his Super Regal guitar. I mean, it'd be great to have, but
too many buttons and
that's a little too much for me. But if they were to put out a real Stratocaster type guitar, kind of like they finally did a real, this is the first, the 594s. Not only is the scale length right, but it's the first one that's had the 4 knobs work like Gibson knobs. It's the first one they put out where it's correct. If they were to put out a Strat
modern
like
take
that,
on a Les Paul.
Yeah. No, it's the right way to do it. It's sweet.
Yeah. But that's part of my thing is I'm holding off on getting any kind of Strat. You can get a lot of basically how it works is if I want a Gibson sound, I play this guitar. If I want Fender tones, I play my Custom 24. The place a lot of people go wrong with PRS is they try to compare a custom, either a 22 or a 24, to a Les Paul, and that's not a proper comparison. They're much more like Super Strats. They're much more like Super Strats than they are Les Pauls. So, you know, that's how I've been getting by. I'm a big Knopfler fan too. I play fingerstyle, and I play the custom for that, and I can get very, very close to that, you know, Sultan's type of tone.
I'm dying over here. There's a really funny comment in the chat here. David says, you know, as you turn on to Kemper, it says, "Welcome to Kemper. Windows 95 EXE crashed."
Yeah.
Someone says, "Just run it in DOS." There's a whole lot of weird computer jokes going on in there now. So anyway, sorry, I had to interject.
Well, if you want to run DOS, just get an Axe Effects.
All right, I reckon fire up that toaster, mate, and let's have a rip.
Toaster.
No, it looks like it might be too late. Oh well, it's all good. What have you got in your hands there, Terry? What's that, mate?
Well, I was going to say, I mentioned last month that I was going to take on a build project. Well, I did finish it up and have it here that I've been sitting and waiting to show off to folks.
Yeah, bloody Ryan. Ryan just hogs it. No.
Yeah, you know, I just come in and dominate. You know how I am.
Oh, cool, man. That, Terry.
This is what I call the Jazz Blastard.
Nice.
Very cool.
Cool color.
It does look cool.
I think something...
Yeah, I originally didn't want to go black. It was actually 8 parts black to 16 parts amaretto, but it still came out with a black color somehow.
That's the joy of finishing.
I think I think a Jaguar or something must have snuck out behind the shed and fornicated with your Flying V.
That's been known to happen.
That kind of reminds me of one of my little crows in terms of that sort of mixed.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah, I didn't think of that originally, Shane, but you're right. That does look like the last one you got.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 4-piece swamp ash body that was raw, dyed it back, and then sanded it back in parts. Wipe on poly, light level. Again, rosewood fingerboard maple neck. Mm-hmm. Also as well from Guitar Fetish, I reshaped the headstock to kind of get close to a Jazz Master style kind of shape. Tuners.
What did you use to do that, Terry?
Believe it or not, sandpaper and a saw.
I was gonna guess a spindle sander.
No, actually, that probably would have got that curve nice. So it's got Wilkinson double lock tuners.
What's a double lock? I've never heard of that.
I'm not sure how well I can get it into the camera here, but basically there's like 2 holes there where you put the string through. You can put one through the top or one through the bottom, and it kind of gives it offset angle. So, anyways, Wilkinson tuners, Wilkinson roller bridge. This is the GFS Jazz Master Jaguar style tremolo. I ended up throwing my pickups out of my Schecter Black Omen, so it's got a set of GFS crunchy pats, 3-way toggle, volume tone, but those in October will be getting changed out to probably a set of wide range humbuckers.
Oh, neat.
Very nice. I just found a close-up picture of the of those tuners. I hadn't seen these before either. That's a great idea.
Look at that.
Yeah. Whoa.
Oh, shit. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice guitar, Terry.
That'd be cool.
Thanks.
Well done.
I did that all for about I'd say about $450 US.
That's not bad.
Cool.
And it's all GFS parts. Other than the Wilkinson tuners and the Wilkinson bridge are also for GFS.
How did you find the fret setup on the neck?
Not an issue, really.
I think I just got one of their tellies, and historically, GFS's necks came in, and you needed to give them love. They wanted to bite you, and you had one high fret or two, but it was always like every neck that I've ever seen of theirs was like that. And I got one of their telly recently that was actually really good.
Yeah, this was their premium line body and premium line neck.
Mm-hmm.
Terry, you've got people in the chat wanting to buy that guitar from you. You might be onto something here.
Yeah,
that's always a good sign.
Yeah, I had another person that I know that I also met through YouTube. Even he said, "You want to sell that?" It's like, well,
every man has his price there, David, in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, the cheaper ones still have their issues, but I believe Wicked Fester as well had bought in one of the top end necks, and the only thing I had to do with that neck was take the bow out of it. Yep. And the only thing otherwise that I had to do with that was I had to shim the heel of the neck to get it to break right.
Yeah, over that roller bridge.
Yeah.
I want to show you guys something that I saw the other day. I'll share this with you guys as well, because I think I'm doing a very short video about this, but I thought I'll spoil it as we're talking about guitars again.
If people have made it this far through the live stream, I think they deserve a nice spoiler.
Yes. I don't know if you can see the title up on the top of this picture, or is that? Can you see the guitar?
See the guitar, 30 grand. Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
I'm looking at the inlay, I'm guessing.
$30,000.
Ooh, Ruben, autographed by Nick in the States.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy. Check that
out. I was in the Guitar Center in Boston, their high-end room last year. I think I have pictures of it. And they had a $93,000 Martin.
Wow.
That had, I mean, someone must have spent a year doing the inlay work. Everything on the thing you could possibly inlay was also, I mean, you could see why it cost that, but what the hell do you do with a $90,000 blinged out to the thing Martin, which a guitar known for its elegant simplicity, you know?
That sounds like the anniversary one that they did.
Yeah, it was
well, the answer is you take it and you put it in a display case, much like that one, and you hang it on the wall.
Goes from that one to another. Right?
Solid plexiglass vault.
Yeah.
Are you going to play your guitar? No, don't touch it. Don't touch it.
That one is not to be played.
Or it's the gift that a wife gives her husband who has a chrome-wrapped Corvette with mirror finishes on everything and a bunch of way over-the-top shit. She's like, he'll love that.
Who has everything, yeah.
And likes it to go 2 steps too far.
That price of that Martin was so shocking, it caused me to disconnect.
It just blew right up.
Yeah, I actually,
as soon as you said it, disconnect.
Steady up, Ivan, steady up.
I glitched out for a moment there. I thought everyone else must have froze, but it was me. So I don't know if I lost much of that conversation.
Yeah, my call just dropped. I had to call again. So $93,000 Martin. Boop. Australian internet. Australian internet's pretty horrible.
Yeah,
mine's especially the case.
The Martin factory is only about 45 minutes from where I live. And I went there last summer, yeah. And you should see some of the stuff that they've got hanging up on the wall. They've got this room where you can just go in. They've got every style that's I think they're currently making hang up on the wall, and you can just go in and play them.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I went in there, and I came out about 10 minutes later. I said, I better get out of there because I'll buy something that's $50,000, and I can't possibly pay for it, you know.
Or you'll suddenly be, a buddy of mine did that with a D28 there, and then he came home and spent the better part of 3 months finding the perfect D28 used. He's like, but in his mind, he's like, it only cost me $2,400, $2,600 instead of $5,000 or whatever the hell it cost there. So it was like, so I saved, and you're like, you're screwed, dude.
Yeah. They're still probably the standard for acoustic guitars, I reckon, the Martins. You know, there's other nice guitars out there. There's probably more expensive ones, and some that are, you know, arguably as good, but I think consistency and just quality-wise, they're pretty hard to beat, the Martins.
I'm definitely in the market for an acoustic. When, you know, definitely the next thing I'll probably get. Because I have a decent electric, so.
I don't even have one anymore.
Those Gretsch acoustics. Yeah.
The Gretsch acoustics.
sound amazing. I played one just the other day too, and I've played a couple in a few stores, and every one I played were consistent, and they're very balanced EQ and still loud. So
have to check it out.
They're pretty costly, especially in Australia. They're pretty costly.
It was really something to sit in that factory though and have a high-end Martin in your hand and just play it. I mean, all of a sudden it made me sound like I could actually play guitar.
And I said
it was just amazing. I didn't get better, just the quality of the instrument did. And
they sound amazing. They sound amazing, but they all look to the unknown. They all look the same. With some glaring exceptions, but so they're not trying to sell you on bling or crazy. And usually, it's just a squared-off headstock or whatever in tone.
Yeah, Maton Guitars, one of our Australian companies, look very bland. They're all kind of the same. They might use a couple of different woods here and there, but they're very. This is what you get. You're getting a very no bling. Oh no, absolutely. But we're just saying to the untrained eye, they look like any other acoustic almost, but.
They're a bit boring looking, I will say.
Yeah,
absolutely. The Gretsch ones are pretty bling.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, good old Martin.
The Martin or a Sigma? Get the Martin.
Sigma? Sigma.
No, it's Martin. It's a Martin.
Oh yeah, he has a Sigma.
Yeah. Right.
Two PRS, two custom shop PRS, and then a Sigma.
Hey, you gotta watch out. He had a Spire.
I used to have a Sigma 12-string. It was a nice guitar. It really was. It was an old one too.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a Squire.
I don't know.
Squire Affinity Telly.
I've never really showed this guitar much because it's really not anything special. It's just one I've had the longest. This is one of the what do they call this? It doesn't even have a tag.
X's, the CXEs.
Yeah. It's a 000X or whatever. It has that. It has that.
Wengewood. Is it a Wengewood neck?
No, this is where it's that HPL, the high pressure laminate or whatever.
Gotcha.
But I bought this in college. This is 10 years. I've had this for 10 years, and you can actually see around the rosette. Like this actually has some real relicking going on here. You see how the wood's going away? So before you know it, I'll look like Willie Nelson.
What I think makes an acoustic sound really good. Is really heavy strings. When I played acoustic, I used 14-gauge strings.
I was going to say, from the guy who plays 12s on electric.
Very good sound.
Yeah. They're essentially bass strings,
12s on electric and 14s on acoustic. Yeah. Well, so I just think the heavier.
I'll send you a set of these and you can put it on.
Definitely. Heavy strings on an acoustic make a big difference. I used to play medium lights, and then I went to like mediums, and I was like, wow, all right. So that definitely makes a huge difference.
I'm not a very strong person. I just think you just need to get used to it.
Oh, that's it.
People are just a bit afraid to do it. I'm not a strong person. You just get used to the 11s, then you go up to 12s, and it's fine.
Yeah, I used to play 12s on my Epiphone Dot for about a year and a half, but the wound G thing, I don't know. I just
I got a strong wound, a strong unwound third 24.
Oh, okay, cool. I might look into that then. Sweet. What you got there,
it's
Terry?
only ball.
It's a heavy
not
bottom.
Even slinkies.
Yeah.
Only ball, not even slinky. 12 through to 56.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's pretty thick. Oh, these just have the Ernie Ball Earthwound 11s.
Nice.
On this acoustic, and I really like the lighter strings on this, and I found when I put those strings on this guitar, it did wake it up a hell of a lot. This is now...
why don't you guys play Elixirs?
$40?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but
strings are really expensive in Australia too.
I actually, the BC Rich
I tried them. I hated them.
Had Elixir nano webs on it, and I can tell you, I hated it because one of the things I do is that pull off kind of thing like that. With those nano webs, when I tried to do that, my fingers actually totally slipped off.
Yeah, I can believe that.
I don't like the feel of them either. I had them on the
I couldn't stand it.
Oh, here we go.
I choose my
Steve just robbed the factory. What is that?
It's a triple OM.
Nice.
No, what's that sticking on the front of it? What was the?
Oh, it's just
lock.
I keep it. Well, it does sound. No, I keep it in there. It's a humidifier.
Play it.
It's a humidifier in a little gauge on there.
Okay.
Because you're supposed to keep your stuff, within a certain temperature and a certain humidity. They're a whole lot more.
Cigars in there.
They're a whole lot more susceptible.
Cool, well, guys. I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's basically it's cutoff time for the stream. I got to go up the street, post some stuff out, and I got to get a whole lot of other little bits and pieces done today. So thanks guys for joining in. It's been awesome.
Shane, can I slide one more? Can I slide one more question in on for you before we head out?
Yeah, go for it. Nick falling apart. So if you need to go, Nick, feel free. Man.
I get a minute. I'm good for a minute.
I was going to ask, and I hope this isn't in any way a controversial question or whatever, but I saw this thing over on HP's channel about the GitCon, and I know you've said in a couple places that you had decided to not to go to that, even though I think you were invited, as you should have been.
Yeah.
But I've noticed, and I think it was some sort of a ethical thing for you. And I don't know that, I'm asking, but it seems like it hasn't bothered anybody else that was invited. I think everybody else is going.
Oh, look, no, I mean, I spoke
about what your position on that was.
Look, I hope everyone that goes has a good time. I just feel like that sort of event doesn't always bring out I don't know. I always feel like anytime, say you've flown somewhere to a company to do videos for them or however it works, right? I always feel like there's an unspoken expectation that a lot of the videos will be favorable based on that. That was one of the reasons. Another reason is I don't want half of those guys on my YouTube channel. I don't want to, and it's being honest, I really don't. There's guys that are going that I really like, but I don't want to just, I've always tried to sort of work with niche companies and smaller companies and not so much the big companies. I like, even though I might not get the views on a small pedal from Greece that no one's heard of or from France, I prefer to do things that aren't what everybody else is doing. I don't want to get cozy with these big companies. There's nothing wrong with that. And I tried to be clear that, like, I appreciated the invite, but to me personally, it didn't sit right with me. And I have no problems with anyone else who's going and doing it. I just would prefer right now to see what comes out of it before I go in there. And I don't want to lose credibility for things, for all the work I've put in on my own, on my channel. I don't work with distributors. I don't have guys from companies coming to my house and I shoot videos with them and all that kind of stuff. I don't do any of that. And I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to get involved that big with any of these companies. And there's nothing wrong with it, but if I want to, like, there was this comment that basically said, oh, something like this wouldn't work unless a big company was paying for it. There was other things that I'm not going into as well, right? But it does, because I'll be collaborating with Steve while I'm away from Pixie Licks. I'll be able to do stuff with people that I choose to work with, and it's coming out of my own pocket. There's a moral thing about that I like. I have no hesitations with anyone who's going over there. I have no criticisms of them going, because everyone's in a different position. But my niche is different, and I kind of pride myself on doing something different,
not being the 100th Strymon Clint demo.
Yeah, I just don't get a lot. I don't get a lot of excitement out of the stuff that's going to be at the show. And then one last thing I'll mention: there was a comment made like, "Just turn up. You don't have to film any videos." So morally, for me, like, what's the benefit of the company going to get it? What's the company benefit here? And that doesn't sit right with me. I don't want to take advantage of people just to turn up and boost other people's YouTube stats. I don't feel, and that's how I felt about it. I felt like this is a PR thing in some ways of getting other people's subscriber bases up, as opposed to actually for the benefit of the company. Look, I could be completely wrong, and I said that to everybody involved. Like, I might be just looking at it from a pessimistic point of view, or an uninformed point of view, but I'm not as dumb as a lot of people seem to think. I've worked for a lot of great companies over the years in lots of different environments, and I have a really great bullshit detection system built into me. Out of years of working in corporate environments as well as business and management consultancies and stuff. So I just sort of feel like right now, this isn't something that I want to do. Do I want to work with Pixie Licks and Tone King and those guys? I'd love to sit down and do some videos with them, but not in that sort of situation where there's 20 other YouTubers. I'm not interested in working with them all. I'm really not.
Yeah.
And then with that, you get in a situation like that. I'm antisocial enough as it is in those sort of situations, but I would only work with those two guys. And for me, I could just do that on my trip overseas. If it's not going to work out with Tone King this time, unfortunately, but or Nick in the States, if we get together, we'll do something. We'll shoot some videos of us doing something other than gear demos. I don't want to shoot gear demos in another country for a big company with lots of other YouTubers shooting the same stuff. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. It doesn't sit right with me on more levels than just not wanting to go because it's a big company. I get a lot of comments where people think they know what's going on behind the scenes, like, oh, you shouldn't do this, you should do this. And I'm like, you don't know anything about what's going on. So don't make assumptions about what I think, what you think I know about stuff. And also, I take things on board, but there's a lot of people that also criticize me for not wanting to work with big companies. But I kind of pride myself
on their business.
Sorry?
It's not really even their business.
No, it isn't. And the fact is they're uninformed. They're coming at it from what I put out publicly, which is usually very, very vague and very non-confrontational, right? I try to remain calm and very, I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable in a situation where a big company is spending 140,000 euros flying everybody out to shoot videos for them or not shoot videos for them.
And just real quick on that, this event, is this a Thomann sponsored event?
Yeah.
So this is the equivalent.
A little bit. It's mostly Warwick, though, isn't it? Is it Warwick?
All those stuff.
And Framus.
And Framus, yeah.
All the German companies.
I don't understand. That's the part I don't understand. Is of all companies to do this, it's not Fender, it's not Gibson.
Well, no, it's
Warwick and Framus.
Well,
and look, I said this just to be clear too. I'm not.
Same company.
Yeah.
I'm not at all against the idea of this, right? Because it actually is a good idea. This is how NAMM should be, right? I had a chat with Henning about this. I said to him, the idea is good. And it's not like I don't like the idea. I think a lot of YouTubers pay thousands of dollars or hundreds, depending on where you live, to go to NAMM. If you're not sponsored, like I'm not sponsored. I know a lot of these other guys get free flights over there. Tone King's not sponsored. Pixie Licks isn't. They pay out of their own pocket, right? To promote companies for nothing, essentially, right? They do it for the YouTube thing as well and the networking. But I'm not really that interested in promoting a company I have no interest in either. So if I went to NAMM and I was there and a company flew me across, I'd be like, I want to film the stuff I want to film, and I'm not going to do. I don't know. It's a hard thing to sort of explain.
But
is the
Crystal Pratt's the next big thing.
Is the perception then that we should be preparing ourselves for an onslaught of Framus are the best guitars on the planet videos? I mean, is that what you think is going to happen, Shane?
And I'll give Henning props on this, right? He speaks his mind on videos and he doesn't give a shit. I don't really give a shit either.
That's certainly true.
I'll speak my mind on stuff. I shoot demos for companies where I remain impartial, and I only shoot the videos of stuff that I think is pretty good on the most part as well. But Henning, he'll have a guy come to his house and he'll just belittle the product in front of the guy, right? Like, that's good on him. If he's got a bit of a backbone for doing that. But a lot of these other guys, they don't have that same. There's so many ass kisses in the YouTube community when it comes to gear. I'm not one of those guys. I very rarely, if ever, send emails out to companies going, "Hey man, I'd love to work with your products." I don't do any of that stuff. I just don't want to be that guy. Like, I have companies contact me, and I'm not saying like I'm so big that companies just work with me. I used to send out a lot of emails, but I don't now. But the point is, like, there's this unspoken expectation that there's two things, right? This is another thing. I watch a lot of videos that go up from the NAMM events, right? And then I watch Social Blade stats. You watch people spam out these videos, the subscribers do this. Like over time, they'll go up, right? But immediately you lose a lot of subs. And I could just envision that happening if I was at an event like that, because that's not what I haven't tried to build my community base off working off big companies. And it's not the fact that a big company is flying me over. That wasn't the problem I had. It felt like A, sort of selling out a bit, B, kind of feeling like I'm obliged to give you know, something that doesn't interest me a positive review or a video. And if I got there and I didn't want to video any of their stuff because I'm not interested, I'm so over gear demos, right? Like it just flying overseas to do gear demos of stuff I don't like isn't what I want to do. I've got better things to do with my time. So it's all of these things combined. Like I would hate to see a lot of these other companies, YouTubers that are going there, just do a lot of stuff based on the fact that they're there and they feel obliged to do positive reviews or whatever videos they do.
There's one more thing too, because I was invited to go. I would have had to pay. I'm smaller, so I would have paid my own way. And the thing that I struggled with is there's opportunities to show up on each other's channels, which is a really kind of cool thing. But for the content of the gear you're looking at, you know that 20 other channels are going to have videos on the same gear that you're looking at.
This is exactly what. This is why I don't go to. This is exactly why.
For me to drop the thousands of dollars in the vacation time and the honey I owe you back to my wife to go away for a week. And it was interesting because I really wanted to go and you know, it would have been interesting. But the thing is, I had trouble finding out like what would separate, aside from just being around similar people and the stuff that, like, when Shane hosts a bunch of YouTubers or some of the other guys, the conversations we have there is a lot of conversations we would just have in person, right? Of how we do things, what are your stats like, how does this thing go, those things. But you can do them without having to spend thousands of dollars or all the time. So that was why I was kind of back and forth on it myself.
But again, I don't understand what products are going to be reviewed. Is it truly Warwick and Framus instruments and that's it? Or is it?
No. There'll be other. My understanding is there'll be lots of stuff probably supplied by Toman or whoever. So look, I'm not against people getting together, shooting videos, or even the event on its own. I just feel like for me, it's not the right thing. And there's, as I mentioned, it's not just one thing. It's a combination of things. I don't know. There's two ways you can work with people, right? Sorry. I was just going to say, like, sometimes when you collaborate with people, it works well. Sometimes when you collaborate with people, it doesn't work well. I just see this as a huge thing to help yourself with YouTube by getting together with all these other people with high subscriber bases. That's why on my live streams, and this is no offense, Nick, I'll have guys like Nick on because A, he's an awesome guy. B, I don't give a shit how many subscribers he's got. You know, that doesn't bother me. I don't care about that stuff. I'd rather have a chat with Nick than some of these guys that have, you know, 50,000 or however many subs any day of the week. It doesn't. That sort of stuff. It doesn't excite me. I'm not an ass kisser. I'm not looking. You know, this is the funny thing, right? Most of these guys, after they do this event, their subs will be a whole lot higher than mine, but I'll still have way more views, and that's what it comes down to. So for me to fly over there just to get subscribers, that it's dead subscribers after a month or however long, screw it. I'm not interested. I'd rather go on a holiday overseas, somewhere where I want to go, and I can meet the people that I want to meet, which will be hopefully Nick, hopefully Steve, Pixie Licks. I'd love to meet Steve as well and on the chat here as well, but you know the time's running out. So, and I'm going to be shooting some videos over there for the stuff that I love, and that's just me, man. That's what I want to do. I don't care if it shoots me in the foot or if I miss a great opportunity, I missed a great opportunity. That's how I look at it. But when something doesn't sit right with me, I've learned over the years to trust my instincts and my experience.
Yeah. Who's to say you're going to miss a big opportunity? You might find out that Pixie and Tone King and these guys come back and say, "Ooh, that felt greasy. I don't know that I want to do that again." You know,
that's how it feels. That's how it feels right now for me, man. I know not Tone King, but I know a lot of other guys that are going. I've spoken to a lot of them and emailed them and so forth. And there was a lot of people that had hesitations that were sort of very similar to mine. I know Henning's going to make it a point to just say to him, you know, say whatever you want on the videos. And I hope that happens, because that'll be a good thing for people to keep the reviews more honest and upfront, as opposed to just feeling like you favorably owe them positive criticisms. But at the same time, I also, my other concern is, is this valuable for the company that's paying for all of this? A lot of people on YouTube have a sense of entitlement. They think they're rock stars, and they think they're owed a lot of stuff because they produce videos. Seriously, like that's the mentality, man. Ask as many. There's so many people out there that feel like they're owed everything because of what they do. They cry broke and all this kind of stuff. It's like, dude, there's a lot of stuff in the YouTube community I don't like, and I want to distance myself from that. There's guys in the YouTube community that I absolutely like as well. So I'm really, really good at reading people. I'm really good at assessing situations, and I've learned to trust my instincts. And that's what I'm going to do. And like I said, if I end up just being too pessimistic and it ends up working out great, who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind on it. But right now,
if it's great, there'll be another one.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
And that's just exactly it. I mean, the other reality is it would be like Shane being like how he is. He's independent. Then all of a sudden he goes over there and he's like, I really dig this Warwick bass, or I really dig this Warwick guitar. Everybody would be going, what the hell?
It's great. I swear it's great.
My condition would be, if I ever did something like that I would be as brutally honest on any of the videos that I could do, because I think
just like that.
I just, there's something about it. I'm just not that interested in.
When you're independent, what you say is more credible. There's one particular YouTuber I won't name, but between 2014 and 2017, he said the Addario is the best string in the world. Oh, Cleartone is the best string in the world, and now he's saying Ernie Ball is the greatest string in the world.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Yeah, this is exactly. So it's like, yeah, you don't really take away anything of what they say because you just don't trust it.
You sound more like politicians.
There's a lot of guys who have only, and I don't mean to make this sound condescending, but there's a lot of guys who have only been musicians, right? And you lack a lot of musicians will lack a lot of real world experience. Whether, the stuff I learned in the corporate world has been invaluable in a lot of aspects of my life, right? And it's stuff that I wouldn't have been aware of unless I'd been in that environment for a lot of years. And it's taught me a lot about people. And yeah, I've worked in other industries too, where I get a sense about this event. Like, I like the premise of it. I just hope good things come out of it. But feeling obliged to appear on other people's channels that I don't even watch, or I have people that I don't even like being on my channel, I just don't want that. And I would say to them, I don't want you on my channel, man. Like I know my subscribers heard like your
Bill X on In the Blues.
Yeah, look, and that's why when I did that live summit thing, right, I wanted to get the guys that I like as people first. I don't give a shit how many subscribers they've got. It doesn't bother me. I just wanted to have the guys that reminded me of what I do. Like
those things are very cool. I'm glad you got that going, because those are very fun to watch.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so that was all about just getting people that I thought were reminded me of me in some ways, but also were more interesting than me.
Hey, so, yeah. I'm off now. Have a good day.
All right, thanks, Isaac.
Yeah,
take care, man.
Later. Yeah, have a good day.
Shane, like you said, I think I've heard. I think one of the live summits you did, I heard the Tone King talking about how he does pay out of his own pocket to go to NAMM and shoot all these videos. And who is it really benefiting? Well, it's benefiting the manufacturers, right? It's benefiting the companies. Those manufacturers are not paying in any way. They have no. They have no financial outlay to the Tone King. So the complaint, I think, the idea, perhaps, I don't know, this is conjecture, perhaps this was a way to flip that around and say, okay, let's have these manufacturers. I like that idea, but the problem is if it's only one manufacturer and it happens to be a retail outfit, that's where it's going to be weird.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the premise, was to get guys that like us over there to help and like give us something back as opposed to just paying out of our own pockets and all that kind of stuff. So like I said, the premise of it is really good, and I appreciated the invite. It still felt weird. It still felt like something that wasn't for me, and that's
it's weird because for your benefit, or any YouTuber that's going to go and put the time and the effort in, it doesn't seem like it makes sense for you guys to have to pay to go make content or things that are going to be beneficial for. I've got my sidekick with me here, by the way. It doesn't seem like it makes sense.
What does he play?
Yeah.
The Bone.
Fetch. That's what she plays. But it doesn't seem like it makes sense for you guys to have to pay to go to NAMM to do this stuff. I get why you don't go. Well, that's not the reason, but that has to be part of it. There'd be a financial outlay on your part. Will it be fun and like a vacation? Sure. But you're also going to spend a boatload of time editing video, editing audio, getting everything ready to go, right? So I think it makes sense for you guys to at least break even on that trip. But the only way for you to break even is for somebody to kick in some money. So who's going to do it other than the manufacturers? What would the ideal way to do this be? I don't know the answer, but your complaint is that it seems to be like it's one manufacturer or one retail outlet. I don't know what the ideal. I mean, how would you ever break even on a trip like this? Who would compensate you?
Yeah, I would never break even going out over to NAMM. Like I know inadvertently through a couple of the European pedal companies that I've worked with. They've sent me stuff. I've demoed it. They've killed it. Like financially, they've gone, oh, if we keep on these sales trends, we'll send you over 1 year. You can film whatever you like. And I thought, yeah, okay, maybe that's an option. But I don't really. I want to be, if I go to an event like that. See, there's a few things too. I always think of it as a content guy more so than, wow, it'd be great going to NAMM, because as a person, I'd love to go to NAMM and look at everything, right? But you got guys like the Tone King who do great interviews already. He's the master of that, right? He's so much better at that stuff than I'll ever be, right? There's guys that produce really bad interviews, so I don't want to be one of those guys. Right around the time of NAMM, there's a handful of YouTubers just putting out a lot of content. Some of it's really good, and some of it's really, really bad. So if I went all that way out of my own pocket and filmed and used, and say I filmed 40 videos and put them all out, and they were all had bad quality audio or whatever, I wouldn't want to put them up. Like I just don't want to be the guy spamming out videos for the sake of spamming out videos. It doesn't, and lower quality videos maybe as well. It's So North of 50 now says, Shane, you need to develop your own contracts and your own guidelines for what you do. See, these are the assumptions that people make about me. They say, you need to do this, you need to do that. You don't know anything about what I do when I'm not on the computer talking to the camera. I get this all the time. People say, I need to do this and that. You have no idea about me. And that's, I appreciate the feedback, but a lot of people make assumptions about me to say, this is what you should be doing. Well, you don't know if I'm doing that or not. And I don't talk about this stuff publicly. It's the most I've spoken about this event coming up so far to anybody. Like, I've spoken to a few people about it, but offline. But yeah, it's a lot of people don't know what my conditions are when I do videos. Or if I get paid for my production time on certain videos, if the products aren't worth my time, or if I've done 3 other things like it in the last month. So there's a lot of things that people make assumptions about that they don't really know about either. So yeah, Maxie says, Shane is a male prostitute in his spare time. Yeah, I wish I'd be loaded, man. and I appreciate the people trying to help as well, but I can't go into this sort of stuff publicly. I don't really want to talk about this stuff on YouTube posts, but I see it all the time. I'm starting to think, oh God, maybe I reply, but I keep it vague. But at the same time, it's not something that anyone knows about what goes on in my life outside of this. And when I see people make assumptions, I'm not talking about North of 50 now here. I'm talking about other YouTubers that make assumptions about me. They don't know me. And I made that comment to someone recently. I said, what do you know about me other than my videos? And they said nothing. I said, yeah, that's exactly the way I like it. So that's it. Anyway, it's a long-winded story that goes nowhere. But
I think you've got a very
I don't talk about. Sorry, Ryan. I don't talk about a lot of the stuff I do for my YouTube channel to many people. There's a few other YouTube channels and guys that I help and I give them suggestions and things like that. But I very rarely go into any of the stuff publicly because it's none of their business. It really isn't. That's the way I look at it. I don't know. I mean, Nick's a YouTuber, so you might have some thoughts on it as well. But I like my anonymity when it comes to offline stuff.
Well, and it allows you to be, right, like, if you're not being paid and you're super enthusiastic about something and then a month later you decide that you're over enthusiastic about it because you just got it, well, guess what? You paid for it, you anticipated it, you got it in, you played it, or you had a clean relationship or whatever, and then you're like, oh, you know what? I'm not quite as psyched about this anymore, and it's on the road, but it was nice while it lasted, and here's why. It's legit. It's real. You're having a conversation. You build a friendship and a relationship with the people whose channels you watch, whose channels I watch, that we all do, that you participate in that instead of just spending 5 minutes with them for this one thing. That it's not a 5-minute transaction. It's a hopefully many hour, days, weeks, months thing. So when you got to keep a bunch of it back. There's a whole lot of stuff that I think everyone on YouTube eats, or they don't, and you hear about all of it in a long running soap opera, and I think similar to Shane. I'd rather eat it, like I don't get in arguments with people on my channel. I don't badmouth anyone, no matter how bad they say stuff to me. It's just, all right, cool, next.
I think the American equivalent of, and I may be totally wrong, and if I am, tell me, but I think the American equivalent of this independent viewpoint is Philip McKnight. Is he not an independent person? I mean, I thought I understood that he was.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look, this is my approach to independent, and this is something that I think people misconstrue too. Look, this is how I look at it. Paid favorable reviews or paid favorable advertising is different to being paid for your time to produce a video.
Oh, right?
Yeah. And to either remain impartial or to give you your constructive viewpoint on something or whatever, right? So two separate things. Philip's awesome. Like I don't think he, I know he doesn't get paid for a lot of the stuff he does, right? Or most of it, or all of it, whatever it is. But that's the thing. Like there's companies and guys out there who will be paid to make favorable reviews, and that's to me isn't independent.
Well, of course not. That's the opposite of independent.
Yeah. and that's what I preached for years. Is like I want to stay independent, meaning I want to continue to do my thing from my house without the contracts or the written legal terms that I have to say favorable things about companies or about a product. So that's my interpretation, or that's my meaning behind when I say that. I'm not saying anyone going to this event is paid favorable reviews either, right? But that's where I'm coming from as an independent guy doing something from his house. I want to keep that trend going for myself, and that's what I sort of pride myself on, being able to say what I want when I need to.
I think one approach to it, I think the approach Phil uses is if a company sends him something and he tries it and he doesn't like it, he just doesn't do a video on it. So you don't see videos on his channel of him talking negatively about a product. Now, he may be critical of some little portion of a product, but overall it's not a, hey, this Line 6 Spider 5 is horrible. There are other YouTubers that will do that, right?
Yeah.
So
no, he's a pretty positive. He's a really positive guy. He won't. I don't think he'll do too many videos about stuff he doesn't like and just hang shit on it. I don't do that either. Like try and find.
Well, it's weird.
5 videos.
You've really made me
5
think.
videos.
You've really made me think. You've really made me think of how this is possible, though. How can guys like yourself be afforded a trip to go to a impartial location with a bunch of products that you may not be able to get your hands on normally, which is what I would refer to as NAMM, without being out of pocket a bunch of money? How is it possible?
But it's also not even that, Ryan. And I think part of what, because I've had conversations with Henning on this too, part of why he wanted to do it, and at least from my perspective, if it is, like, NAMM doesn't appreciate YouTube. Like, NAMM does not make your life right, and that's the whole point. They do not make your life good. But I think from their perspective, which is the captive audience perspective, why should they? If they embrace YouTube, it means that YouTube will do a better job presenting their product than NAMM does. Therefore, people won't pay to go to NAMM. Therefore, they don't have a gig. So I think it's not always it's in a conflicted best interest for them. So I think Henning wanting to do this to somehow get around NAMM and get directly to manufacturers and have both, I think, Warwick and Framus, same company, I think Thomann, and then some of the boutiques that Henning knows around the area, and you've seen him come through his gear, go and do it. So on the surface, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of this gets fixed if NAMM pulls the head out of their ass and embraces and makes it easier, because it's not easy. Shane's been there, I have, but I've talked to a lot of people because I've tried to go on my own dime, and people said, it's not worth it, man. For the $2,000 you're going to spend, go to Disneyland, make sure while you're there, but the best thing you do, because it's a mess. It's a tough room. It's tough to get in. You're not prioritized. You're nobody for the most part.
And also to add to that, like, the quality of video you can do on an amp when there's lots of other amps being
110 dB.
Yeah, it's not really doing the products a service or whatever. It's sort of like, people don't want to see. Like I said, interviews are great. If you get the guy doing an interview and he's good at it, it's awesome. But yeah, I don't know, man. Oh God, it's freezing in here. Yeah, it's one of those things where I just don't want to spam out a whole lot of crappy videos and have to pay $4,000 to go.
Is that the answer? Do basically what Henning is trying to do, but don't pave the way for any of the YouTubers. Just invite them. I mean, how else do you do it? I mean, that's my question.
I mean, I got a press pass for NAMM, but I had to fly. The hotel, everything's on my own. I would have had to pay for that, and then they're getting my audience, which isn't cool. So like I said at the start of this, when we got talking about this whole thing overseas, Henning's idea is brilliant. Like, I like the fact that the companies are actually using the YouTubers as a resource to get their products out while giving something back. So don't take away from this at all, anybody, that the idea itself isn't good. And I don't think people should feel bad for going. I just know how I feel about being involved in an event like that, and right now it's something I want to do.
But yeah, I respect it, and thank you for taking the time to explain your position, because I haven't really, anybody that I watch, I mean, everybody has chosen to go except for you, and I was interested.
No, it's not just me.
Oh, really? Are there others that are? Well, Phil, huh?
Nick also just said he was also.
Yeah, but I wasn't offered to pay. They weren't going to pay mine. I don't know that I would make the same decision if they were paying mine or not, but it's a different thing,
And you know what? If they had said to you, Nick, we'll pay for your flights and all that kind of stuff, you should have gone. It would have been great for your channel. I just don't feel like it's going to be that advantageous to my audience to go. Like, I'm going to get more subs because I'm working with people that have more subs and blah, blah, blah. But I don't care. Like, my views way outweigh my subs based on my videos are all over the internet. They're on every website company that's out there. I get shares from EHX. I get 80,000 hits that day if they share a video of mine. So I get over 1 million hits a month now. I might get an increase in terms of in hits, but subs aren't views. And while it can, there's this link between your immediate views over time and all that kind of stuff. I kind of like just being. I like doing my own thing, and that's what it comes down to.
And I think a great question that might actually clarify it too if you were 3 hours away, would you drive to check it out for a couple of days or a day or two, something like that, instead of being 20 hours away?
I don't know. I'm not too sure.
That's a great question. Like, maybe I'd check it out. Yeah. Maybe I would, but not
maybe
the whole thing or whatever, you know?
I think I'd be less likely to go if it was nearby. Honestly, like I would say, well, I don't know. This is how I am in life and outside of YouTube. I hang around with the people I want to hang around with, and I don't hang around with the people I don't want to hang around with. I don't care if I'm going to gain something out of the people I don't like, that's not reason enough for me to hang around with them. And I'm not saying everyone that's going is bad, right? Like that's not what I'm getting at. That's just I'm very narrow-minded when it comes to friends and all that kind of stuff in reality too. So, like I said, for me to go hang out with Pixie or whoever and shoot a video, it's going to be awesome fun for me. I don't care if there's like guys, no one else there that has 50,000 subs. I'm not looking for that. That's not what it is for me. I don't care. I just want to meet the guy, or I want to meet Nick or whoever. So that's I'm not overly excited about, like, other than Philip McKnight and a few of the other guys. I'm not really feeling like there's much for me there, to be honest. With my niche and my audience, I know my audience well, and while a few of them might get a kick out of that, I'm not going to get a kick out of it. I don't want to have to force that. I really. Yeah.
Well, I think we're getting that from you in the form of the summits already. That's it. And how hard is that? I send out emails, people join.
And I will tell you what was awesome too that you guys don't see. For those of us that did the summit, I think we stayed and talked after the public portion of that about just talking inside baseball for hours. I think it was like Shane had left. I think it stayed up. And
it was 4 hours.
It was 4 hours. I went to bed at way later than ever. But that's the value that you get of those things. You don't have to go anywhere. We're already we've embraced this video thing.
So there's more about the connection I have with, I say, Nick and maybe some of the other guys as well, that goes. Like if I didn't like Nick, I wouldn't sit there talking to him for 4 hours after the live stream. I'd just be like, thanks, man. See ya. Bang. And then everyone thinks we're friends publicly, but offline, we don't give a shit about each other. That's not who I am. And I sense, like I said at the start, I have a really good BS meter for people. And I can
talk to that Nick guy for 2 hours again. Oh my god!
I just feel like I can read people. I can read people really well, and I'm trusting my instincts, and that's it. So I'll probably shoot myself in the foot. But anyway, who cares?
Well, since I threw the grenade that started this conversation, I'll try to give you a way out of it here. I think
because I'm busting to go to the toilet too, so hurry up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be incredibly interesting over the next. When is that thing? Is it like beginning of September? When is it? Middle? When are they going? When is the event?
September.
September. So I think over the next couple months, once that thing's done and you start to see the content, I think it will be extremely interesting to see what does come out of it, what gets reviewed, if there are any negative reviews whatsoever.
Henning will actually be brutal on his videos. He doesn't care. That's what I got to give him credit. Like he'll say whatever's on his mind. It's just that expectation when everyone's getting free flights. I want to see this as well. And will it benefit the company that are forking out all of this money? That's my question.
I'm just laughing because I'm just thinking about when Robert was over there and Henning kept dropping the P word, and Robert, you could see Robert blushing because of how much he doesn't.
Robert is Baker, right? Baker's just one of the sweetest human beings you will ever meet. I've taken lessons with the guy. He's just one of the nicest Midwestern, stares out across at a farm every day kind of dudes that you just the two of them together is like a reality show.
Like The Odd Couple. Yeah. It really was like The Odd Couple.
I haven't watched the video. I saw it and I was like, oh, that's an interesting combination of people right there.
Did you see Maxie's comment, Shane? I'll let you read it.
Oh, no, I haven't. Sorry, where was it?
One Piece spandex suit.
Oh. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, man. He's crazy. So. Look, I don't dislike him. I just think, like I said, I like the idea of this event where a company will actually pay to have our channels as their outlet and give something back. I think that's kind of cool. I like the premise. So I'm just not interested.
Yeah,
there's the short answer.
I was watching Henning, who was doing a video with Friedman on his amps. It was either this year or last year's NAMM, and Grover Jackson was there, and they were looking at Friedman's guitars, which, you know, those guitars are anywhere between $2,600 and $3,600 US, probably on up, depending on how you option them. And Henning picked one of them up and was like, oh, this one really looks like shit. You know, and Friedman just started laughing. You know, it's like he didn't know what to say. But I didn't initially, like when I first saw the guy, I was like, okay, here's another studio guy doing studio videos that I'm not really interested in. But then once I started to see what you see is what you get with him, I like those kind of people, and I've become, you know, interested in watching his videos now. And whenever I saw that he had come up with this idea, I thought, okay, you know, and the whole Kemper thing to put the bow around this whole thing, you know, he raised some very interesting questions. And I think he's a very sharp and very smart, insightful person. So I was interested to see what's going to come of this. But I mean, you will get to hear more than I do about how Steve and Lewis really feel about their trip over there, and Phil and those guys. You'll hear more than I will. And I won't share that with anybody either. If they bring up the subject, I'm not going to speak about it publicly. That's why I didn't go into details on it on my podcast. Right. I just felt like it's nobody's business. I'm happy for them if they want to go, and they don't take YouTube for them is different. You know, they're both successful at what they do in their day job, like I once was, but not anymore. So it's different. It's a free trip overseas. Who cares? Like, why not jump at that? But there's more for me to think about than just wanting a free ticket somewhere. Anyway, could go on about it for ages, but I tell you what, guys. We're like 45 minutes over time here, so
rope them in more.
Now,
lastly,
Shane, what are your thoughts on Donald Trump? No, that's a kidding, just a joke.
Just to reiterate, last time, I have no problems with anyone who's chosen to go. I'm happy for them. I'm happy they get a free ticket to do something they enjoy and to somewhere new and exciting, all that kind of stuff. So I like the premise of the event. For all the reasons I listed, it's not for me right now. So that's just it. It's as simple as that. I'm being a stubborn old man.
And thank you again for taking the time to articulate that so well.
Thanks, man. I don't know if I articulate anything well these days, but anyway, cheers.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Well, thanks heaps. If you are in the chat and we still have 100 people here, feel free to click the like button. And, yeah, we always appreciate that. There's always more views than likes, so that would be cool. And if you didn't like this video, go over to Nick's channel and dislike all. No, I mean,
come on over.
Yeah. No, and Nick, get a new video up, man. Come on, it's been like 2 months.
It's on this week.
Go over to Nick's channel and search through the archives for his most recently released video.
I will tell you, when you don't release a video for 2 months, the only comments that come up are really negative ones about old video of yours. It's really a self-fulfilling cycle.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Take care.
It's been fun, Shane. Thanks for the invite.
Always. Thanks, Shane.
Yeah, nice to see Shane and everyone else again.
Take care, everybody.
See you, Steve.